The Michigan Wolverines are arguably the most recognizable name brand in all of college sports. But within the last 80 years, only 2 national championships in college football just isn't going to cut it. Now, we all remember the success they had in the early 2020s, with multiple playoff appearances, multiple top draft picks, a national championship in 2023, that's all great. But college sports nowadays is what can you do for me now? And as of the last 2 years, the Michigan Wolverines have been underwhelming, to say the least, especially considering when they're paying their starting quarterback, Bryce Underwood, over $5 million a year in NIL money. Today, we're here to fix the Michigan Wolverines and take them back to the promised land and make them, once again, one of the most dominant forces in all of college football. And as we take a look at the team here, it's easy to see why expectations are high. Starting at the top of the snake, we're looking at Bryce Underwood. The true sophomore quarterback came in last season with high expectations, of course, considering that he was the #1 overall prospect in the recruiting class last year, came in as a true freshman starter, and he was fine. Certainly not to the level that many would have expected him to be, considering he was the #1 overall prospect and had a lot of suitors going after him, most notably LSU, but he chose the Wolverines, certainly had a fine freshman season. As a sophomore, we're looking to see him take growth in accuracy. As you can see here, the speed at 87 rating for a quarterback, that is ridiculously high. 97 throw power, he can fit it into any tight window, but the accuracy certainly leaves something to be desired. Of course, does have star dev, already has platinum off platform. He is going to be an exceptional talent at the quarterback position, and if we can keep him for one more season, then seeing his development rise, he could become a 90+ overall if we work on these accuracies. The goal, of course, is to win a championship with Bryce Underwood. That would mean within the next 3 years. Is that likely? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe your answer changes after you see the halfback position, because we have a wonderful two-headed monster. Jordan Marshall last year was the backup to Justice Haynes. Of course, Haynes transferred to Georgia Tech, I believe, but Jordan Marshall came in when Haynes got injured, was certainly a pretty solid running back, and as you can tell by the 87 overall rating, EA thought the same as well. So, 90 speed, 93 acceleration, decent changing of direction, great carrying, great ball carrier vision. He is a solid option at running back, but behind him, and maybe someone who could overtake him as the starter this year, the #1 halfback recruit in the 2026 recruiting class, Savion Hyder. The true freshman already has elite development, platinum shifty, 93 speed, 94 acceleration. This guy is going to be a demon. It's just depending on whether it's going to be this year or whether it's going to be the year after. Then we look at our receiver room. Michigan is certainly not known for its receiving threats. It's not known for passing the ball very much. Hopefully we change that a little bit in this video. But last season, Andrew Marsh as a true freshman certainly showed out, had one of the better true freshman receiving seasons that I can think of in the last couple of years. He has 92 speed, 95 acceleration, great catching. The deal breaker does scare me just a little bit, but if we can keep him on the team, I believe he has, impact dev is fine. He'll certainly reach the low to mid 90s, which is definitely good enough for a #1 option. Right behind him is the Texas transfer, Jamie French. He was a high recruit in high school, one of the top receivers a couple of years ago in the recruiting class. He has star development, gold 360. He has 91 speed, decent catching, decent route running. He's an 81 overall. If he decides to stay with us, then that would be wonderful. Brand exposure is a deal breaker, so it seems as though he'll be here for as long as we want him to be here. And that may be 2 years, that may be 3 years, but he would be a wonderful #2 option to have. And then as our #3, the Utah transfer, JJ Buchanan. A former tight end, as you can see, 6'3", 225 is a pretty hefty build for a receiver. Recently decided to become a receiver in the offseason. 89 speed certainly isn't the best, but of course you do have to remember that he was a tight end. He's big-bodied. He'll go up there and get you a catch. You look at the offensive line here. Certainly not the best in terms of overall, but there is experience here. All of these guys starting have been here for 3+ seasons. Sprague got the right tackle job last season, I believe at the beginning of last season. Blake Frazier earned it around the middle of the season, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, these guys all have starting experience one way or another, and I'm expecting just great blocking all around from all 5 of these guys. So in terms of blocking, we will be set there. The one wild card in terms of offensive line, though, Andrew Babalola, the former top offensive tackle recruit a couple of years ago. I believe he got hurt, which is the reason why he didn't play much last year, but I mean, as you can see from the physical tools, the star depth trait, this guy is going to be elite. And no matter what happens with Frazier next year, I would assume that Babalola will be the starting left tackle for the foreseeable future and maybe for our championship run. And then you look at the edges. The defense obviously is what Michigan holds its hat on historically. John Henry Daly is 81 speed. He had, I believe, 11 and a half sacks last year at Utah. I mean, you look at the physical tools and mental tools. 97 awareness is ridiculous for an edge. Power moves, finesse moves, mid-90s. This guy is going to be a stud. I would expect nothing less than at least 10 sacks here. At the other end of the ball, we're going to have Carter Meadows start, I guess. You know, if I had to guess, it probably wouldn't be Meadows. It might be Brandt starting at the, or maybe even Nichols starting at the other edge side. But he's a true freshman, 80 overall, one of the top edges in this past class. I mean, 87 speed, that's just tough to beat off the edge. 6'6", 225 pounds, already 87 finesse moves, 79 block shed. Of course, only impact that will certainly hurt his development in the upcoming years, but at the end of his tenure here at Michigan, he could be a mid-80s, low 90s type of guy, which is certainly good enough for an edge rusher like Meadows, who already has an elite trait in finesse moves. Then looking throughout the rest of the roster, you know, the linebackers certainly a weak spot here. We'll be looking to, up the linebacking core in this recruiting cycle, whether it be through high school players or through transfers. The cornerback position, it's old, it's experienced, but in the short term, it will certainly help. Jair Hill had a great year last year. Smith Snowden, transfer from Utah. I mean, these guys will be great for now, but in terms of the future, we're going to be looking towards a transfer portal, looking towards high school at this point for our future in the secondary. Free safety, Rod Moore, has been with Michigan. I think this might be his 6th year now. At strong safety, we're going to start Taylor Tatum. Many people might disregard this strong safety position. Taylor Tatum was actually a top running back recruit a couple of years ago. Didn't get much time at Oklahoma last year. Transfers to Michigan, and Michigan transfers him to strong safety. And while you see here Chris Bracey, he has a higher overall, and he might even start for the Wolverines at the start of the season. I'm curious to see what we have in Taylor Tatum. And 93 speed at safety, that's hard to bet against. So we're going to go with Taylor Tatum at strong safety. So you look at that roster and you say that might already be a championship contender today. But then you look at our schedule and maybe your mind will be changed. Number 10, Oklahoma will be coming to town. This is a team that we got dominated by last year. Of course, we did start a true freshman in his first road game, so hopefully Bryce Underwood can calm his nerves and we'll be ready for Oklahoma, but that's no easy game. If we somehow get by Oklahoma, that's great. We have Iowa coming in a couple weeks later. If we get by Iowa, because they'll score like 7 points or something, and a couple of weeks later we'll have Penn State. If we get by Penn State, we have number 5 Indiana. We have to go at Oregon to Eugene, play the number 2 team in the country, and of course we'll be at Ohio State this season. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 6 ranked opponents for the Wolverines. If we could go 9-3, 10-2, I would be happy. But this, as it stands, is not a national championship core. Of course, the goal will always be to make the playoffs every year. If Michigan makes the playoffs this year, I would be extremely happy. It would probably help my job security too. But in terms of what I actually think is realistic, 9-3, 10-2 seems about right. Let's take a quick look at recruiting here. We did put a quarterback on our board and we scouted him. He looked pretty good. Tommy Denton, the name, from Cortland Manor, New York. 6'1", 208 pounds. Already has platinum dot. 86 speed, 96 throw power, 90 deep accuracy. This is a guy who could come in and start immediately. Of course, this would be a great backup option if Bryce Underwood does decide to transfer, and if I'm not mistaken, yes, his deal breaker is coach prestige. This could change when he gets on campus, but as of now, if Bryce Underwood comes back or if he decides to leave, it wouldn't matter based on the playing time deal breaker or anything like that. Tommy Denton would certainly be a great option at quarterback if Bryce Underwood does decide to leave. And a common trend you'll see throughout this rebuild too is I do want to target Michigan talent. David Njoku, I don't know if I'd necessarily always go after him, but 6'5" from West Bloomfield, Michigan, not a bust. That makes me want to keep him on the board. Same with Alfonso Homa from Belleville, Michigan. Not the best tight end, but certainly doable. He is the number 1 tight end in the country, of course, but when you look at his ratings, it's not the best. Mitchell Kingsbury, he is a gem tight end. I didn't go over the tight end position when looking at positions because it is probably one of our weakest positions alongside linebacker. So if we could get 2 great high school recruits, including Kingsbury, who is a gem, they will certainly be helpful for us as we go for a national championship. George Tatum, the number 7 prospect in the country, number 2 positionally. Is he the best looking? No. The 82 power moves, 76 finesse moves, 79 speed is doable, 90 acceleration is definitely doable, and this is a player who could come in and almost start for us immediately. So we're looking for instant impact players. If you didn't already know, Michigan is one of the biggest brands in all of college football. They're going to have an unlimited NIL supply. So, the expected NIL was 125. That may seem like a lot. Then you look up at the top right, 7,875 remaining NIL points. We have an unlimited budget here at the University of Michigan. And if the number 7 player in the country is in our backyard, we're going to get him. And that also means going after some players that we may not think we have the best chance of getting. You see Jermaine Minor here, the number 13 player in the country, number 2 outside linebacker. His number 1 school is Georgia. They have a tier 5 pipeline. He is from Georgia. He will likely go there, but he is a gem will linebacker. His stats look incredible. 85 speed, 90 strength, 88 tackle, 89 hit power, already great mental and physical abilities. This guy just screams star or elite dev. And of course, you may be wondering about the number 1 player in the class. How about Trey Friend? Number 1 player in the country, number 1 player in the state of Georgia, number 1 cornerback. I mean, there's a clear stat that jumps out. It's not going to be your awareness, your zone coverage. Who cares about that? The kid has 97 speed. I can teach him awareness. I can teach him zone coverage. You can't teach him 97 speed. That is track level speed. He has house call, of course. This is a number 1 player in the country. You'd expect him to have star elite dev. He is that guy. Will we get him? Probably not. Again, you look at these top schools. Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson all have tier 5 pipelines. The odds that all 4 of those, schools don't go after him, I'd say it's pretty low. So we'll probably not get Trey Friend, but he is worth going after. And like I've said a couple times already, he would be an instant impact day 1 starter if he commits to the University of Michigan. And this is something also of note. Head coach Donkey Kong here, first year at the University of Michigan. We're going to have some high expectations, You look at the past, and it hasn't necessarily been great. Look at a Sugar Bowl appearance in 2011. I believe Brady Hoke was the head coach, and then a downfall. Then Harbaugh comes in. It's steady. 2020, of course, was a bad year. But then you look at this sudden climb here. 12-2 in 2021 with an appearance in the college football playoff. 2022, maybe it could have been Michigan's year, but they lose to TCU in the college football playoff. Come back the next year, go undefeated. And then 8-5, 9-4. Not necessarily where you want to be at the University of Michigan. So, as you can see from our AD, today things are great. We'll see how it is tomorrow. So we want to maintain our national powerhouse facilities. I'm sure we can do that over the next 5 years. We want to beat Ohio State this year. If you look at the impact bar, that is full, completely full. So if we lose to Ohio State this year, that safe meter might go from 98% to maybe somewhere around 50%. We want to beat Ohio State. That is our main goal. And then, of course, win 80% of our home games this season. We saw our tough schedule. A lot of or at least our toughest games at the end of the year are away, so thankfully that'll help us. But we do have Oklahoma, Iowa coming to town. It won't be necessarily easy, or it's not a guarantee that we're going to win 80% of our home games this season. But we are the University of Michigan. We have a great crowd. I believe they're number 12 in the rankings or something like that. So the home crowd advantage will certainly help us. Taking a look at some of these recruiting battles now that we've simulated a week, unfortunately, Ohio State is going after this ridiculously good quarterback. I don't know if there's much more we can do at this point than give him the 50 hours and just hope that we're still in the running by the time National Signing Day comes around. But, if Ohio State's getting that much of a boost after 1 week, it's going to be tough to keep up with them. Again, Tommy Denton isn't too much of a problem, but losing him to a team like Ohio State, that is mainly the problem. And shockingly, in the recruitment of Trey Friend, the number 1 player in the class, we have catapulted our way to the number 2 team on his top schools overview. We only have a 3-star pipeline tier, but I assume the 150 NIL, plus a decent pipeline, plus the 50 hours that we're giving him, that's a big boost. Shockingly, Ohio State and Georgia not going after him despite having top pipelines, but, I can't control what they do at this point. If we get Trey Friend, that's a guy that's just going to come in and be an instant impact starter for us. And here we're going to simulate week 1. We're here for Western Michigan. This just is not a game that is really worthy of us jumping into. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? Week 1, we decide to simulate, and Western Michigan upsets the Michigan Wolverines. Oh my goodness, how does this happen? Bryce Underwood throws 2 interceptions against Western Michigan, and Brock Lowry, the redshirt junior, throws for 2 passing touchdowns. Jalen Buckley, their star running back, goes off against the Wolverines with 100 rushing yards. And all of a sudden, we're on the hot seat and we haven't even jumped into a game. And this unfortunately means that this Week 2 game against Oklahoma is essentially a must-win. I mean, you look at the crowd, it seems rocking, it seems nice. I'm sure they're shocked after last week's outcome. And the team looks fired up. They need to be fired up because this is almost must-win. You know, one of my favorite YouTubers, Bangle, he likes to say he's a personality hire. I would say I'm the exact same. I have no stick skills. This is Heisman difficulty, of course. There's a flag on the field. Please. Yep, man, it's going to be holding. Though it looks like Oklahoma is going to decline. And they're going to leave us out here on 4th down. I'm going to, first of all, try to get them off sides. We don't get it. Oh boy, that's pressure off the edge. And Oklahoma forces a turnover on downs. Let's see what happens here on their ensuing drive. Our defense, of course, needs help. And we can force them to a 3rd and very long. We're actually going to go to a cover 3 here. See if they can sift out our change. They're going to have crossers over the middle. We could stop them behind the line, and we do. 4th and 2. And the Sooners keep the offense on the field. I respect it. You have to respect when a team goes for a ballsy call. This is more than ballsy. We'll go as Rod Moore here. Try to stop him on 4th and 2. And Mateer's going to flip it, and a wide open touchdown. Sooners up 7-0. Looks like the Wolverines have been driving down the field. Thankfully, it's 3rd and 9. We do have R1 open here. I wonder if I could just get him on a streak. And then put Buchanan on a slant if this would work. Fit him over the top. Wide open. Touchdown, Wolverines. It's going to be 2nd and goal here for the Sooners. Looks like the Wolverines drove down the field, scored another touchdown, but that just has not stopped the Sooners' offense from continuing to drive down the field themselves. We have a bit of a rain game here, but it is 3rd and goal. An obvious passing situation, though of course Mateer can certainly use his legs as we saw last season. Let's see where Mateer goes. Over the middle of the field to the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Sooners. They'll get us on the field here for a little 2-minute drill. We have Marshall in the game. I want to see what Hyder can do here. So we'll put him in here as maybe a pass-catching back. We're going to run the ball, of course. This is the Michigan way. Marshall going to drive forward for 5 yards. That's a respectable gain, but of course, we got to get moving. We want points here. 2nd and 5 here for the Wolverines. Underwood, he has legs himself. He's going to move forward in the pocket. He'll slide down at the 50. We're going to take a timeout. We can run the ball once again here. We'll have the true freshman, Savion Hyder, platinum shifty, 93 speed. Let's see what he's got here. He's going to bounce it onto the outside. That was the worst possible read. We have 3rd and forever. Let's see here. They rush 5. Let's see if we can get Marsh over the middle of the field. Right in his pocket. Andrew Marsh with a huge catch. And Underwood, after having a really rough performance last week, is at 127 and 2 touchdowns. That's what you like to see from your star quarterback. We can take a little bit of time here. We have a minute left. Savion Hyder finds a hole here. He'll get about 12 down at the 21-yard line. Let's take our time here. We do not want to give the ball back to the Sooners before the second half, of course. 2nd and 7. We're going to look for our slants here. Marsh beats him off the press, but a beautiful job from Oklahoma's defensive line. They have been giving us fits all game long, it seems like. 3rd and 7. Here we go. Wolverines desperately need this. We're going to go to the tight end, see if he can make a catch. He can, and that's going to be 4th down for the Wolverines. We're gonna run a gimmick play. You know, I hate gimmick plays normally, but let's at least try it here. 4th down. We're going to get him. And down at the 5-yard line, huge gain here for Sinclair. Daniel Sinclair, the backup running back, maybe even the 3rd or 4th string running back. Why is he in the game? I'm not sure. But we have 17 seconds, 5 yards to go. We want to drain this clock as much as possible, but there's pressure here. Quick. Let's see if we can get to the running back. We can, but Hyder can't hang on. It's going to be 3rd and goal. Oh, man, this is tough. I think I can get a quick play off here. I think I can get one quick play. We'll look for a drag real quick, and if it's incomplete, then we will, of course, take our 3 points. But if I get dueling drags here, maybe Jamie French gets open. Let's try to draw him off sides. Of course, that doesn't work. Throw it quick. Caught. Timeout. Yeah, we call timeout with 1 second left. Just short of the end zone. We're going to take our 3 points. Go into halftime with a lead. Blaine Bell, of course, knocks it down. Wolverines, with the number 8 team in the country, coming into the big house. The Wolverines have a lead going into halftime after falling short to Western Michigan last week. We're going to see if we can come away with a victory in this one. Looks like we actually get the ball here to start the half. Just see here. They do rush 5. We're going to give it up to Marsh, our best receiver. What a catch from Marsh. Down inside the 15-yard line. And we're going to have another moment here. And while I am so tempted to pass the ball here, I think the right call here is to run the ball. Jordan Marshall, he'll get the first. I think we just need to rely more on our offensive line. You know, not try anything too fancy. If it comes down to passing the ball, I still trust Bryce, of course. But in this moment, we're going to trust our running game even more. Marshall will get stuffed at the line of scrimmage. Looks like Oklahoma is keen on running this man-to-man coverage. I wanted to throw that slant so badly, but that did not work out. It's third down. We will be passing the ball here. Let's see. Do they bite on it? They do almost, and Marsh was open. But unfortunately, one of our offensive line, in fact, that's Evan Link, our starting left tackle. But we unfortunately get stuffed behind the line of scrimmage from a sack. David Stone, once again, will take our 3 points and be happy with it. This has been a barn burner. My goodness. The first moment that I have back from that field goal, it looks like it will be a long third down. We'll stop Oklahoma. We'll see if we can force them to get 3. They do unfortunately make the field goal, but they have given us a lot of time. We have 321 yards today that are 240, but somehow, some way, they have a 31-28 lead. This is where legends are made of. We need Bryce Underwood to really show out here. Fortunately, it looks like Jordan Marshall is a bit hurt. In fact, not only is he a bit hurt, he is very hurt. So we need quick yards here. We're looking for Jamie French on the outside. Unfortunately, oh my goodness. Jamie French, it looked like that was about to be picked off for a second. But Jamie French drops the ball. It's third and very long. See what we can do here. Marsh maybe gets open on this cut, and he does. When you need him most, Andrew Marsh delivers. 3rd and 7 here. This is a pivotal down here, of course. Marsh on that hitch is certainly intriguing. We're going to get French on the post, see what the coverage looks like. He'll be rushing 4. We're going to go to Marsh. Marsh, of course, catches it. But they're going to say he's behind the line. Looks like we have a challenge here. I certainly did not challenge it. But we're challenging the spot of the ball. We'll see here if we do win that challenge, and we do. That is huge. To go from 4th and inches at midfield, almost no man's land this late in the game. So now, 1st and 10. The clock is moving, of course, so we do have to hurry up. And Underwood, I don't see why anyone would stop Bryce Underwood on this huge run. Down at around the 25-yard line. 3rd and extremely long. This is going to be man-to-man coverage. We're going to throw it to French. He makes up for his mistake. 3rd and inches. About a minute left on the clock. We're going to do it anyway. Screw it. Hyder, he'll get us the first. 52 seconds left. We can take a little bit more time off the clock, but again, I want to ensure that we get in the end zone here and end this game with a touchdown. Buchanan's going to get the ball here. Down 2nd and 2. 35 seconds. Let's keep that clock rolling. I think we're going to run the ball once again. And, you know, after this play, we could certainly call a timeout and talk over this 3rd down. But I don't think they're going to be expecting run here. Hyder, he'll find a hole here. Will be 1st and goal. We're going to take a timeout. We need a touchdown. 4 yards to go. I'm going to run the ball here. This might be shocking, but again, we can stop the clock 2 more times. That's about as many more times as we're going to need it. They only have 5 guys in the box to our 5 linemen. I trust us. Hyder, he's going to waltz in the end zone. That is a huge touchdown for the Wolverines. And the Wolverines suddenly have a 3-point lead. I'm going to hop in here for the rest of the game just in case. But a 35-31 advantage, that is huge. Oklahoma does have all 3 timeouts, but they need to get to the end zone. They're going to need to go, presumably, a full 75 yards in 20 seconds. That doesn't happen very often. 18 seconds left. Let's see what Oklahoma does. They'll go over the middle. He'll catch. Down at the 32, they'll call a quick timeout. And it is going to be 2nd and 7. Back up, please. Everybody back up. My goodness. Looks like a Hail Mary. And Oklahoma will be taken down behind the line of scrimmage. This is a Hail Mary situation. Just one more stop. We'll be going home winners. Mateer's going to launch it deep. He gets hit when he's thrown. It's picked off. The Wolverines win. And a great interception at the end of the game seals the victory for the Wolverines. The number 8 team in the country walks into the big house. They will not be ranked number 8 after next week. This is the same team that lost to Western Michigan just 7 days ago. They come back fully prepared for the Oklahoma Sooners, and they get a victory. Bryce Underwood plays flawless. 230, 2 touchdowns, a couple of huge runs late in the game to seal a victory. And the Michigan Wolverines, after looking bleak after week 1, a tough loss to Western Michigan. Now they're sitting at 1-1, hopefully building momentum off of this win. We're a couple of weeks later now into our simulation, and as you can see from our record and our ranking, it's pretty much just like we're back where we started. We had a rough week 1 loss to Western Michigan, but 41-2. You don't see that score every day in college football, and there's a reason why. I assume Underwood took an unfortunate safety. Looks like sometime in the second quarter, but complete domination, 2 interceptions forced from our defense. That's what you like to see. Then Iowa comes into town, the number 19 team in the country. We beat them 31-10. Like I said, they're not going to score more than 7 points in a game. Well, okay, they scored more than 7 points in a game. We scored 31 on them. And that just shows us, right, that week 1 was just a hiccup. Western Michigan is actually 3-1. They're a very talented school. But at this point in time, we're starting to hit our stride. Number 16 team in the country. Hopefully we can put Western Michigan behind us. We can start to go on a big win streak. And a quick check-in with recruiting before we simulate just a little bit more. Tommy Denton did unfortunately commit to Ohio State. He's a very good football player, but I'm sure he'll rot on the bench at Ohio State. George Tatum, he's about, hopefully, to commit to us. We're the only one with the visit on him. A couple of weeks into the future now, and here's a huge commit. The 5-star edge from Michigan, George Tatum. Not only has he verbally committed, he is hard committed, as well as the 4-star outside linebacker, Greg Alongo. And it looks like we did lose to Penn State there. This was a pretty big week, and maybe I should have played against Penn State, because this was a big recruitment week for us, but unfortunately we lose out on a couple of big recruits, including the 4-star receiver that's committed to Michigan State. We lose out on the running back. That was a little bit expected because of the pipeline. Fortunately, we lose out on Jermaine Minor to Georgia, and we do lose out on Trey Friend as well to Notre Dame. Let me say, thankfully for us, this game still has a number of problems, including one where a lot of 4-stars have either one or no offers. We added a couple of these players to our boards. We'll see if we can come in the last second and steal them. But as of right now, we're still the number 24 team in the country, even after a disappointing loss to Penn State. As we were simulating, we did defeat Minnesota, and unfortunately that loss to Penn State was only by 3 points. Looks like a 4th quarter comeback from them. Alright, it is a night game at the Big House, and this certainly does give us an advantage, but it's also pouring rain, which means one thing. We're going to have to... Okay. I was about to say we're going to have to run heavy on this Indiana defense, but that was a poor first carry from Jordan Marshall. Let's see what Savion Hyder can do here in the second snap. Finds a hole up the middle. Hyder. I mean, at a certain point, it's just undeniable that Savion Hyder, of course, is the future of this program at running back, but he might as well be the present. When he comes in, he just has electric carries. And as I say that, Jordan Marshall has himself a good carry. But when Hyder is in, things just seem different. And I'm not sure, maybe I'm just glazing Savion Hyder. But we've quickly found ourselves into a 3rd and long situation here. Bryce Underwood needs to get something going here. Looks like they're going to bring 5. Oh my goodness, what was that? That was the worst read ever. Bryce, you just expect something better from him, man. I say that as I'm the one who made the read, but you expect something better from him. 5-star quarterback, you shouldn't be making that type of throw, especially in the pouring rain. He'll find a deep shot, open down the field. Just a 3rd and 7 here. That's a tough throw to make in the pouring rain. Are you kidding me? He does not hold on to that in real life. No offense, 85, but come on. He does not make that catch in real life. I am absolutely disgusted. That's another terrible throw. That's a pick. Come on. This has just not been my best game. And it seems like the team would be better off if I weren't playing. But here we are still. It's 3rd and 7. We're going to go in the backfield. We get hit as we throw. But we do take our 3 points, though, of course, right as we score. Indiana's driving down the field. It's a 1st and 10 at about the 20-yard line. Let's see if we can get a big tackle here. We do. I think we just need to play this one down at a time. I think, I've been making a lot of mistakes in this game, but obviously we're not out of it. It's only a one-possession game still, and a big stop here. I mean, if we can keep them to just 3 points, it'll be 10-3, still one-possession game, have about 2 minutes left. Bryce could certainly do his thing. We do somehow get the offensive line to go off sides. Must be that bit of a crowd advantage there. The stadium pulse is rocking. 3rd and a mile. This would be ridiculous if we gave it up. Josh Hoover, I like him. I don't think he's certainly a bad player, but no. Oh, thank God. A huge pass breakup there. It'll be 4th and 16. They'll be forced to take a field goal here. Just no stupid mistakes. No roughing the kicker. That's fine. Unfortunately, though, it seems like our offense just has a complete inability to move the ball. And somehow Indiana has the ball back here with about a minute left, and they'll just waltz their way into the end zone. We're deep here in the 3rd quarter, down by 3 possessions. Can I salvage this? Probably not, considering I'm the one that put us in this hole. But again, you didn't come here for gameplay. You are here for good vibes. Let's see if Underwood can find the man deep. Oh, he overthrows him. I don't want to talk about the rest of this game. This was just pitiful. Michigan falls now to, I believe we're 4-3, maybe 5-3 now. 3 picks from Amari Farrell. That is just absolutely disgusting. And yeah, we are sitting at 4-3, but this isn't the worst stretch to have here after this. Rutgers, Michigan State, Oregon's, have certainly been rough to start the year. 5-2 is not where they expected to be. And UCLA is also 5-2. Some of these games are winnable, and hopefully when I'm not playing the games, the team can play better. So my plan was to actually sim to the Ohio State game, because I thought, that was a pretty good segue. I haven't done this very much. In fact, this is the first time I've ever done that, so I thought that was a pretty good segue to the Ohio State game. But then I get a notification. A record has been broken for the University of Michigan. And that record would be the single-season sack record. John Henry Daly not only did it by week 9, or week 10, whatever we're in, he did it in 7 games. I mean, 16 sacks in 7 games, that's over 2 sacks a game. And the fact that he has 16 sacks and no one else can muster up more than 3, that's just ridiculous. But 16 sacks, you have to be in Heisman contention with 16 sacks in 7 games, right? Unfortunately, after such a monumental record is broken, we beat Little Brother, of course, but we lose 17-10 at Oregon. We get pummeled at home by UCLA. All of a sudden, it's funny, in the intro I'm talking about how, we're going to be beating what we did in previous seasons. I will be getting a national championship soon. We're sitting about right where Michigan was just 2 years ago. And now we're playing at Ohio State. I am not excited for this, but to be quite honest with you, the one thing that might save my job this season is a win at Ohio State. There's a reason why they don't just call this any other game. This is the game. There's a lot of fog out, heavy rain. But Bryce Underwood, if there's any time for him to prove himself, it's now. Unfortunately, our center gets beat. It's going to be 4th down. We haven't gotten many moments here, but 3rd and 2, 2 minutes left. This is not, the worst scenario we could be at, but unfortunately, it looks like Bryce Underwood is a little bit hurt. We're going to give it off to Hyder, and oh boy. Thankfully, we do drill the field goal, so it is a one-possession game now. We do have a minute 13 left as well. So there is some time to work here, but, if we're going to win this game, it's going to need to be a bit of a defensive struggle. If you can get out of bounds, that'd be great. Looks like Hyder did get out of bounds there, so it is 2nd and inches, unfortunately, but 1st down would stop the clock. Let's see what we can do here. We're just going to rush forward with Underwood. I know he's hurt, but slide. Thank you. And all of a sudden, we're driving in Ohio State territory. This game is certainly not out of reach. We can make it out of reach if we do make a bad play. But Underwood sees green grass. He's just going to run. Let's get out of bounds. That's a cheap hit. 6 for 53 for Underwood on the ground. That's a great play for a quarterback here. Looks like he's holding at his hamstring. That's never a great sign for a quarterback. But we're going to throw it across the middle. Jamie French with a nice catch. It's going to be Ohio State calling the timeouts here. I don't know if you have much liberty to do that. Somehow Ohio State has the #1 rank in Stadium Pulse. I don't know if that's true. Comment down below, actually, if you've been to Ohio Stadium and if they do have the most electric crowd. As someone who's been to a good number of college football games in their life, an LSU crowd, they can certainly get rowdy when they want to get rowdy. But obviously that changes depending on who they're playing. We're going to throw it cross body. Unfortunately, Jamie French drops it, but that will be pass interference in the end zone. That'll set us up in pretty nice territory here. Like I was saying, LSU, Tiger Stadium, when it's a big game environment, there's nothing that can really beat that. But, I've never really been to a stadium up north here as Hyder gets a touchdown and we get the lead over Ohio State. I haven't really been to a stadium up north. Here's third down once again. Never really been to a stadium up north, but down south, when you're at LSU, Tiger Stadium on a Saturday, they're playing Alabama or Ole Miss or whoever, it's just hard to beat that environment. But if there's an environment that you think beats that, comment below. 3rd and 8 here for Michigan. This is a pretty pivotal moment here. Let's see if we can get to the tight end. We can. Fortunately, he cannot break that tackle, but we will take our 3 points. Or will we? Looks like we're going to keep the offense on the field. I do like that decision a lot. Looks like they are going to be predicting run here. We are not going to be running the ball. We're going to be passing it to Jamie French. He can't hold on. That was unfortunately a tough moment to be in. And of course, now the next moment I get, we're down by 11. We have to string something together here. See if we can go across the middle. Nope. And unfortunately, we just cannot come back from that situation. Bo Jackson just runs all over the place. And Michigan, we finished, I think we're 6-6, or maybe 7-5. Just a complete disappointment from the Wolverines this season. And this is just a sight that I can guarantee we will not see again. The Ohio State Buckeyes will not be beating the Michigan Wolverines. I can promise you that much. If you play this Michigan schedule 100 times, this might be one of the worst outcomes you get. You start off the season with a loss to Western Michigan, go on a decent win streak here, then you lose to Penn State, you lose to Indiana, and you lose your final 3 games. Now we're barely bowl eligible. And all of a sudden, we're probably going to have some of our top players transfer out. Even still, we do get the nephew of DJ Khaled, CJ Khaled, to commit. So that's a nice get. And now after losing to Ohio State, it seems as though our job security has gone down drastically. In fact, we might actually get fired this season because we only won 50% of our home games. So we're at 57% right now. They might give us 1 or 2 more years. So if we're going to turn around this program, we need to do it fast. And as we do look here on National Signing Day to check our dev traits, the gem tight end Mitchell Kingsbury has star dev, 84 speed. That's certainly good enough to have a contributing role in the next couple of years. George Tatum, the 5-star edge, elite dev. That is huge for our future. Philip Ajayi, that's just for more depth at defensive tackle, but impact certainly not bad. Elite dev for Greg Longo, the outside linebacker, a huge get for our defense. Impact dev for Paul Carter, not bad. Impact for Frederick Oden. We have impact for Cedric. We have normal for DJ Khaled's nephew. That's okay though. We still have a couple more commits waiting to sign. This is a very small class and a much smaller class than what I anticipated, but we got pretty decent dev traits considering the terrible season that we had. And let's take a look at season stats here. My goodness, Bryce Underwood. I know I threw a couple of picks here and there, but 16 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. That is completely unacceptable. Not a bad season, 4.9 yards per carry, 6 touchdowns. He had 6 touchdowns when we checked up on him in the middle of the season, so maybe not great that he didn't get more touchdowns following Game 7, but still, not a bad season at all. Savion Hyder, 427, 4 touchdowns. He'll certainly get a bigger role into next season. And then receiving the ball, Andrew Marsh, he's unfortunately going to transfer as well because of championship contender, unless we can throw him a ridiculous bag. John Henry Daly, unfortunately, in the last 4 games, he just really slowed down with the sacks. But 19, I saw earlier, is the Big Ten record, so congratulations. He will go in the first round of the draft, I assume. He will not come back. If he does, we will absolutely take him, but he will go in the first round in the draft, I assume. 19 sacks in 11 games. While maybe unimpressive considering where he was at with 7 games left, with 11 games, 19 sacks, that is ridiculous. Elsewhere, though, you just want to see better effort from everybody. Nobody else got 5 sacks. That's unacceptable, and if John Henry Daly does decide to leave, we are screwed. So we're going to need somebody to step up on defense big time. And in the college football playoff, Number 5 SMU beats number 17 Oklahoma. I'm not sure about number 17. So, the team that we beat is a team that, made it to the college football playoffs. So this certainly was not a bad team. Now, in terms of players leaving, Andrew Marsh, I would love to keep him back. And in fact, I'm willing to absolutely overpay to keep him back. He will be a great overall. He has impact dev, 88 overall. And we still have 4,700 NIL points to spend. So if I can 100% guarantee that he will stay next season, I will do that by throwing him the bag. Jordan Marshall, I'm okay with him leaving. I'd prefer if he didn't. So what's our playing style at right now? D? Yeah, I don't think I'm going to give him the 320 that he needs. I'd up it to 200 if he wanted to come back because he's expected 160. Bryce, he had a terrible year. So you may be wondering why I'm offering 300. He still has star development. And, the point of this video is to win a championship with the #1 quarterback recruit in the country. If he wants to go, he can go. But we're throwing him the bag just in case he wants to stay. And now here's the moment of truth. We have a 9% chance of keeping our job, by the way. We are deep on the hot seat. John Henry Daly wants to go. If he wants to come back, we'll absolutely take him. But of course, he'll go to the draft in the second round. That's fine. Jordan Marshall, we'll try to persuade him. He will not come back. He will be transferring. Our kicker is trying to transfer. I'm not going to use a persuasion chance on him. But Kanoa Winston, 75 overall sophomore impact dev. We do get him to stay. I'm going to try with Mason Curtis as well. And we keep our safety depth high, so you can't be too mad about that. But will be a big loss losing John Henry Daly and, of course, Jordan Marshall. And if you look at our draft results, John Henry Daly, of course, as projected, goes second round. Jair Hill goes third, Snowden goes sixth, and Trey Pierce goes seventh. This will certainly help our pro potential on the defensive side of the ball. We're also down to a 4-star prestige school. After 1 year, is that harsh? Maybe not. We did have a pretty bad year. This is where things turn around. The transfer portal. We need a big-time hitter. Let's see who we got here. The #1 player, of course, doesn't want to come here. DeCorian Moore, he's very good. Dijon Lee doesn't want to come. But we do have Zion Ely from Baltimore, Maryland, from the University of Maryland, wants brand exposure. We can give him brand exposure. I believe he's a former 5-star, one of the top recruits in the country as well. He would come in and immediately start. And looking on our board after the transfer portal opened, Zion Ely, of course, we're going to be giving the bag. Same with some of these top recruits, Ian Geffrard. We're going to give him 200 NIL points. I didn't really scout much about these players, so I'm not sure what they're good at. He is 6'5", 387 pounds, though. So I assume that he is a big boy and that he can really get after the quarterback. In fact, it might be even worth it now that we have extra hours. Yeah, 97 strength, 93 block shed. The speed might not be there, but he has some incredible attributes. And then we're just going after corner. Like I said before the year, our top 3 corners were all seniors, so we need to replace them anyway. And we're going after a couple of corners with the thought that some of these top corners here may not want us. So at the bottom, Des Ricks, Brandon Nicholson, these are guys that are still good, but maybe not on this top tier of some of these other guys. Then at tight end, of course, I already talked about a couple of these guys. Christian Vendicor, Dorian Thomas. Tight end was really a position of need, especially last season, and I think that may have contributed to some of our downfall. So getting a better tight end here, like Dorian Thomas, just bigger body, someone who can block, someone who can be a receiving threat as well would be huge. Marquise Easley, we're number 3 for him on his board. This would be a huge get for us. We need better offensive linemen. And then, of course, Tylen Singleton from LSU. This would be a great get as a Mike linebacker. We just need more bodies in that room, and he'd probably start for us day one. So, and of course, Myron Charles, also from Florida, I believe. 6'4", 313 pounds, pure power. Similar archetype to that previous defensive tackle who we were looking at, Geffrard. Of course, just pure power. Maybe not the size, but maybe not the size of Geffrard, of course, but just pure power archetype. And then you look around here. So problem that I'm running into now with some of our signed recruits, our coach prestige is terrible. We went 6-6 last year. We're, of course, on the hot seat. D+ coach prestige, that's just not acceptable. So we might be losing some of our signed recruits, but again, not the end of the world if we can fill the Mike linebacker and cornerback hole in the transfer portal. Now, unfortunately for us, we're second in the recruitment of Zion Ely, but thankfully, we have the ability of a human to come in and schedule some of these visits. So, alongside Zion Ely on a visit this week will be Ian Geffrard and Tylen Singleton. This is a complimentary visit. This should hopefully push us across Ohio State, even though they have a Tier 5 pipeline to our Tier 3. But unfortunately for us, maybe Ohio State is a human after all. We did have a great visit week with Zion Ely, but we're now in a recruiting battle with Ohio State, and I don't think there's anything I can really do to get him to commit. So unfortunately, the number 4 transfer in the class will be going to Ohio State. This is the second time Ohio State has beat us for a recruit, and honestly, I'm already getting sick of it. Unfortunately, we do lose Zion Ely to Ohio State as we predicted. We also lost Demetrius Samuel Jr., but we got some big commits from a couple of defensive tackles who are starting caliber, a couple of cornerbacks who are starting caliber, a left guard who will probably come in and start immediately, and we're first place on a couple of these people's boards. So, although we didn't get our prized possession, our number 1 recruit on our board, we still got some great solid commits that will help us in the near future. So on National Signing Day, it looks like we end up signing a class of 23 players. That is good for the number 14 class in the country, which, compared to some other teams that are spending, like Indiana, for example, just one spot above us, but they spent about 800 more NIL than we did. So, not terrible considering we didn't really spend too much NIL in this recruiting cycle. Unfortunately, though, Ohio State signs 9 5-stars. If I'm not mistaken, that might be DeCorian Moore. That was the number 1 player in the recruiting cycle, in this past transfer portal cycle, that now has committed to Ohio State. So just when you thought things might get better when they lose Jeremiah Smith to the draft, they just added the number 1 player in the transfer portal, as well as Zion Ely, as well as Denton, the quarterback we were going after. If things just couldn't get worse for us. Anyways, what you guys didn't see was that I added a couple more guards, a couple more outside linebackers, another safety here, Jamar Lee Riddle. I believe he was from like USC or something like that, or maybe UCLA. I don't remember. I apologize to Jamar Lee Riddle, or maybe it was Georgia. I don't know. I apologize to you, sir, but you'll now be a Michigan Wolverine. Now we're here at player progression. Normally I'd try to, juice some of the players' stats, but ultimately I'd leave most of it up to auto progression. As you can see here, our number 1 player on the team is going to be Andrew Marsh at a 93 overall. He'll certainly enter the NFL draft after this year. So was the 380 NIL that we paid him this year worth it? Probably. He'll probably be a round 1 or round 2 type of player. Ian Geffrard ends up as an 89 overall. Still has 26 unused skill points, so I'm going to assume that he capped out. I didn't touch him at all, so I'm going to assume that he capped out. Andrew Sprague at an 88, that's more than respectable. Bryce Underwood at an 88, that's the type of progression you'd like to see, and that's also a low enough overall to maybe he'll want to stay for 1 more year, if he has a good year, of course. Though this is probably the year where if Bryce Underwood doesn't have a good year, this is where the experiment ends. We'll see with him. Jake Guanera, 88 overall as a center. That's more than acceptable. Jamar Lee Riddle, 87 overall, strong safety. This is where you can also see some of the overalls for our transfers. Charlie Christopher really surprised me as an 86 overall star dev. He'll be on our team for a couple of years. What really hurt me to see was that Tylen Singleton, someone who we gave 100 NIL to, is a 79 overall. And next year he'll probably just be at Mike 2 or Mike 3. He will not be the Mike 1, I can guarantee you that. And I'll be attacking that hard in the transfer portal next year, if, of course, we don't win the national championship. But let's face it, we're not winning the national championship with this team, especially considering that we lose out on our star edge, and now Carter Meadows is going to have to fill that role. Last year, he wasn't great off the edge. This year, 91 finesse moves, 85 block shed. That's more than acceptable. He should do better than how many ever sacks he had. And then at halfback, of course, Savion Hyder. The overall doesn't look too much better, but the awareness got a lot higher. The carrying was a bit of a problem last year, if I'm not mistaken. He fumbled a couple of times. His speed got faster somehow, so now he's at 94 speed. And, we're still going to have him for at least 1 more year. So the elite dev trait certainly paid off. I believe he got maybe a couple more overalls higher. That will help. In terms of RB2, it looks like Daniel Sinclair has taken that spot, though Micah Kaapana certainly deserves that spot maybe with his 91 speed, 95 acceleration, 94 agility. It's going to be hard to keep him off the field. And overall-wise, I don't think it's actually updated, but it says we're about the same overall. And would I believe that? No. After last season, it felt like we lost a lot of big pieces, but I guess we did replace some of our linebackers. Our offensive line got a little bit better with age. So maybe 89 overall is pretty accurate. All right, taking a look at our schedule for the next season, we have a Week 0 game at Texas. Maybe not the most ideal considering the season that we had last season. We don't want to start off on a negative, but they were 8-5 last year, so, we made some improvements to our roster. I'm sure they did as well. So maybe it would be a good matchup to see if we're legit, if they're legit. We're going to be playing Eastern Michigan, not Western Michigan, so hopefully we don't lose to them. Oregon's going to be coming to Michigan. We're going to be going at Indiana, at UCLA. Rutgers was ranked last year, so good for them, but they'll be coming here. We'll be beating them swiftly. And Ohio State, of course, will be coming to Michigan Stadium. If you remember correctly, last year I said we will never lose to Ohio State again, so I have to make that promise count. We'll obviously be playing Ohio State at the end of the year, and I can guarantee that we will not be losing to them this time around. And in terms of recruitment, we're only going after 13 players. We don't have many holes on the team. Also on our board, we have 4 5-stars. Miles Durant, I believe, 89 speed. Great tackler, gold workhorse. He'd be a great will linebacker to bring onto the team. Glenn Tolbert has 92 speed. He would be a great Mike linebacker. I was talking about the hole that we might have there with Tylen Singleton maybe not being up to our expectations. Glenn Tolbert could absolutely be that guy immediately as a freshman. So we do have new AD expectations for us this season. Of course, we're going to maintain the National Powerhouse facilities. That was one of our goals last year. Beat Ohio State, I believe, is a goal every year. But this year, we have to win a conference title. I know we spent a lot of NIL in the offseason, but, this team went 6-6 last year. We didn't even make a bowl game. And now they want us to win the conference title. If you do check our team overall, though, what shocked me, in the offseason we were an 89 overall, which is what I believe we were entering the season. Now we're a 92 overall. Our team has gotten somehow a lot better, even though it doesn't feel like it. And maybe it's just the continued progression of Underwood, of Hyder, of some of our receivers. And, maybe I just don't notice this progression as much as I should be. Certainly, this is a good team. And maybe this is even a good enough team to win the Big Ten. Because if we don't, then you're probably not going to be seeing much more of this video. But before we even think about winning the Big Ten title, we have to take care of business in Austin and go at the Texas Longhorns. And, this is certainly a tough environment, but, this is a new Michigan team. And I also want to step into this week 0 game, even though it's not a conference game, even though, it's not part of our AD expectations. I want to step into this game because I think last year we got off to a rough start. Nobody would have predicted that we would lose to the Western Michigan Broncos, but we did. And I think that just set a bad tone for us. Somehow, these people are teleporting through the Texas state flag. I'm not sure how that's possible. I'm not sure if those are even humans, to be quite honest with you. But they are teleporting through the Texas flag. Somehow that derailed me off of what I was trying to say. Oh, right. We want to get off to the right start to the season. We want to make sure we set our expectations high with a big blowout win here in Austin. And we just want to prove that we are one of the best teams in the world. And as you can see here, it looks like this is our opening drive, and we are already inside the red zone. And the biggest part of our transformation from season to season is going to be Bryce Underwood. We're going to need him to have a much better season than what he had last season. 15 picks as a quarterback is just unacceptable. He just dove for no reason, but we do get the ball back. What is he thinking? And we probably shouldn't be getting designed runs for our quarterback, and we probably should be passing in this situation. I don't care. I want to see Bryce Underwood just truck some people. Like his last time, that didn't work very well. It's 2nd and goal here. I'm going to try to run a play that I don't run very often. I guess there's a reason why. We're double covering Marsh, and he almost makes an impeccable catch. But it will be 3rd down nonetheless. We will be looking for Marsh, of course, across the field. But yeah, we're going to hit him here. Marsh, can he drive forward? No, he can't. I think we're actually going to settle for our points. We have a lefty kicker this year. I guess I forgot to recruit kicker. But this shouldn't matter. This should be easy for him. Right down the middle. That's 3 points for the Wolverines. We find ourselves into another 3rd and long situation. This time, of course, we're going to have to pass. See what Underwood can do. Will he scramble? He will. Wide open hole, go down. Beautiful. And if we do have to win a national championship without Bryce Underwood, the one thing I am going to miss is his versatility as Savion Hyder waltzes into the end zone for a touchdown. But the fact that he can make something out of that play where just nothing, or at least from my eyes, nothing was open down the field, he can create a hole or find the hole through the offensive line as we get a synchronized dance here. How nice. Just great team chemistry here. Cheerleaders going crazy for it. But Bryce Underwood, I mean, just the ability to improvise. That's something that I'm going to miss here as a beautiful run from Savion Hyder. Makes this a 2-possession game. We're going to need almost a miracle here. It's like Texas is just going to rush 3, but they're not going to keep a spy out there. Underwood's going to scramble. We're going to call a timeout. We still have one more stoppage of play here if we want it. 45 seconds left. They're going to back up their DBs. That means we're just going to attack them over the middle, Or we could just take off if we want to. In fact, we will. Maybe I could have hit one of those slants coming across, but, Bryce Underwood, that's just the safer option. We cannot afford to have this clock just completely run out on us. But Texas is really scared of the deep shot, so maybe this could open up something underneath. We're going to go over the middle. Is that Marsh? He drops the diving catch. And something of note that I just noticed is that Texas still has Arch Manning on their team. So this is not a team devoid of quarterback play. Still Arch Manning on the team. Let's see if he can make this throw on the run. What a throw from Underwood. We got to hurry up to the line of scrimmage. Clock ticking down. We're going to see if the screen pass works. Going to see if Hyder can outrun the linebacker. He can't. We're forced to call a timeout here. Underwood playing a great game so far, but unfortunately, we just cannot find the end zone when we get in these red zone opportunities. See if he can hit the tight end over the middle, and he can! What a catch! Touchdown, Wolverines! And once again, we find ourselves in a red zone situation. I'm not playing these games, I'm just playing the moments. We have 283 yards to their 54 today. And we could probably put in the scrubs eventually. Let's see if Sinclair can outrun him. He unfortunately can't. This is just a shocking result to me. We come into Austin, we're up by 3 possessions, maybe even 4 after this play, as Andrew Marsh is going to find the outside, and he'll waltz his way into the end zone. That's another touchdown for the Wolverines. How about a 4-possession game in Austin? And Texas does add on a touchdown late, but it doesn't matter. Bryce Underwood just had arguably the game of his career in Austin, played incredible, and sends the Longhorns home with a 24-6 victory. A 3-possession win in Austin. The Wolverines, maybe national championship contenders. So once again, I have to jump in before I was expecting to jump in. I was going to talk about the national championship contenders and come back for the Oregon game, but we lose to Buffalo. The first time it happened with Western Michigan, that was pretty funny. The second time it happens, this is just a trend now. And 13-10, something needs to change here. I'm not sure if it's going to be a playbook. I'm not sure if it's going to be something, but this is completely unacceptable. Thankfully, we bounce back in a couple of weeks against Eastern Michigan, but, we do have number 3 Oregon coming into town, and I think I am actually going to jump into this one. You don't have the number 3 team in town every other week, so, honestly, I just... that Buffalo loss just really demoralized me. I don't even know what to say anymore. I can't believe in back-to-back years, the University of Michigan, I think we were 89 overall last year, we're 92 overall now. You lose to Western Michigan last year and you lose to Buffalo this year. I don't even know what to say anymore. And normally I'd say that I respect the randomness of college football. And some of the results that I see I think are really cool and also realistic that, Power 5 schools don't always, handle the business with the Group of 5 school. But at a certain point, it's just ridiculous. There's no world where Michigan loses to Western Michigan and then Buffalo in back-to-back years, especially when, I think they're pretty good teams. Michigan, of course, famously lost to Appalachian State, but, this is a good Michigan team. That's, I don't know what to say anymore at this point. We're deep in our red zone here. I haven't got many moments in this game, but it's only 6-0, thankfully. Savion Hyder's going to find the outside corner. Will he get in? Oh, it'll just be a yard short. And I have to say, I haven't done this QB sneak thing, but that green bar is actually pretty large. I wonder if it is QB dependent. Bryce Underwood will sneak his way in for a touchdown. I do wonder if it is QB dependent, because I assume that Bryce Underwood, who is not stood up, it's a little concerning maybe, but he does get up just fine. I wonder if it does depend on the quarterback, because Bryce Underwood is a pretty large individual. But as you can see here, not sure why we have to get, the fancy replay graphic out, but nice touchdown for Underwood, and Michigan's up on top. Strong drive here for the Wolverines as we hop in with about just a minute left in this first half. Right about the 30-yard line here. We're just going to dump it off. But we are going to run the ball in this situation. I really do not think they're expecting run. They certainly aren't. And Hyder's going to find a hole, and he's going to get inside the 10. Seems like Hyder's having himself a good game. 10 carries for 81 yards. Doesn't get much better than that. And we can certainly take some time off the clock here. We do not want to give Oregon another chance in this half. So we'll snap the ball just a little bit later. We'll take it out. Underwood's going to taunt his way into the end zone. How about 2 rushing touchdowns for Michigan's starting quarterback? And here's another red zone opportunity for the Wolverines. You know, it's funny that we can't do this against Buffalo, but against Oregon and Texas, this offense just isn't a problem. You know, I don't really know if I have an answer for that. And I can't really save Michigan from that. We're going to go to the end zone. What a catch from our tight end. Fortunately, it did look like we had an injury at the end of that play, so we'll take a look at that after this. But see if Hyder can get in the end zone on this play. He's going to push forward. He'll be stopped at the line of scrimmage. Just a bruised knee, so not the end of the world. We're going to try to get them off sides. That never works. Let's try it now. Going to go inside to Buchanan. That's tipped up in the air. What a great job by the defensive line. And now all of a sudden, what looked to be a guaranteed touchdown, it looks like, you know, we're going to have to work for it. We're going to go to Buchanan on the outside, but we're sacked. We hop back in here with a little bit over 3 minutes left. It looks like the Oregon offense have just struggled today. We'll see here what they can do on 4th down. Gonna look deep across the middle. It's dropped. And the Wolverines now with a 3rd and 5 deep into Oregon territory. A touchdown here essentially seals the deal. Even a field goal makes it extremely tough for Oregon to come back. Pressure here. Underwood's gonna escape. He's gonna try and find the outside. The block doesn't hold. Oh my goodness. Unfortunately, it does look like Bryce Underwood is hurt. Looks like he bruised his hand, but no worries there. We're just going to have Tommy Carr come in and hand the ball off a little bit to Savion Hyder. In fact, Savion Hyder should probably not even be in the game himself. It was a strong performance from Hyder today. He ended up with 21 carries for 131 yards. But, you know, we need to save him for a different day. At this point, we can just run the clock out, and this should be a Michigan victory. And in the end, the Wolverines will come out with an 11-point win over the number 3 team in the country. You know, after a stumble against Buffalo, this is a huge win here to take care of business at home. You know, it's certainly easier said than done. Bryce Underwood with 2 rushing touchdowns. Might not have gotten it done over the air, but on the ground, he certainly was an X factor. Him alongside Savion Hyder, just 2 huge pieces to Michigan's success. And while this win for Oregon certainly puts us on the right track, we still need to win the Big Ten this year somehow. We have to go at Indiana and at Penn State. And unfortunately, I can't really afford to play either of those games, even if I wanted to, because we need to beat Ohio State this year. And though they're 2-2, last year we got absolutely pummeled. And this year it seems like they've only gotten better. And if we do lose one of these 2 games, or maybe even somehow both of these games, we should easily beat UCLA, Rutgers, Illinois, Michigan State, Iowa. A couple of these teams we beat last year. A couple of them we did lose to, don't get me wrong, but also it seems to be weaker versions of all these teams. If we could get one of these 2 wins, and then maybe I could eke out a win over Ohio State, we could make the Big Ten championship game, and then at that point, who knows what happens. But we need to beat Ohio State this year. That's a guarantee, so I'll see you at the end of these ranked games. Taking a quick break here from the regular season, let's take a look at some recruiting. Glenn Tolbert, the 92 speed middle linebacker. Hopefully he commits in the next couple of weeks. We have him on a week 8 visit, which, if I'm not mistaken, is next week, or maybe even the week after. But either way, it's before Nebraska. We all have the same pipeline tier. Hopefully he commits very soon, and hopefully we get him. Again, this seems like a generational linebacker prospect. 92 speed, 85 tackle. This is someone who could come in and play immediately, and his coverages are great too. If you get the awareness and the play rec up, this is someone who could easily be in the mid-90s by the time his college career is over. And then we already have some commits from some top-rated players like Gabe McKissick, the 2nd-ranked corner in the country. Already a verbal commit, should be fully locked in soon. Brian Toure should be a verbal commit soon. Matt Tolbert, I mean, all these people are either fully hard committed, they're verbal commits, or they will be committing soon. And we did only go after a couple of players, but still, you know, it's impressive that we got all of the players pretty much that we had on our board except a couple. But back to the present day, and we did go 1-1 in our ranked games. As I suspected, we did lose to Indiana 19-14, and we did eke out a win at Penn State, and this might have even been a whiteout game, but we did win 27-21. Impressive. They were undefeated, and we ended their undefeated season. So we had 3 straight ranked opponents. We go 2-1. I say that's pretty good. And if you take away that loss from Buffalo earlier, then this might be a ranked team at this point. But at this point in time, we just need to take care of business. We are 2-1 in the conference. Every team that we play other than Ohio State has a below 500 record. So these are teams that we should easily beat, especially considering we are a 92 overall. The problem is it seems like our offense just hasn't really gotten it together. Last 3 games, 17 points, 14 points, 27. Of course, 27 is certainly good for a college football game, but 14 and 17, you don't normally see your teams win those games. But it seems like our defense is really the calling card of our team, which is shocking considering we have a 94 overall offense. And thankfully, we've been pretty healthy for most of this season, but unfortunately, Luke Hamilton, our starting left guard, or I believe he was our starting left guard. Yes, he started all 6 games, has a complete MCL tear. He'll be out for the rest of this season. And Carter Meadows already had 3 sacks through 5 games. It seems as though he's broken his thumb. He'll be out for the next 2 weeks. Thankfully, we did take care of business at UCLA without him, but the next 2 weeks will be at Rutgers, or I believe Rutgers is actually coming to the Big House, and we'll also have Illinois coming to the Big House. So hopefully we can take care of these 2 games before Carter Meadows comes back. And through the end of this little stretch, it looks like we're actually back to being ranked, which who would have thought a team that lost to Buffalo in week 1 would come back and be ranked the number 16 team in the country. But we barely scraped by UCLA, but we take care of business against Rutgers, we defeat Illinois, and all of a sudden, we're in the home stretch of the season. After this bye week, we have 3 more games, 1 against Little Brother, 1 against 1-7 Iowa, 0-5 in the conference, and then of course, the game. 6-2 Ohio State, they are 5-0 in the conference, they're also the number 3 team in the country. But, they're coming to the Big House, coming to Ann Arbor, it's certainly winnable, and it's going to have to be winnable if we want to keep our job. Thankfully, though, if you look in the top right corner, our job security is safe now. This win sequence, I guess, has just really helped our AD expectations, and we want to win a conference title this season, which is just as important as beating Ohio State, and just as damning to us if we don't. So, right now we're 3rd in the Big Ten standings. Hopefully with a couple more weeks, we defeat Michigan State, we defeat Iowa. When we defeat Iowa, then we'll climb in the Big Ten standings, and of course a win over Ohio State would guarantee our spot in the Big Ten championship. At this point, we control our own destiny, but will we make use of that? Probably not. I will also note that we got a hard commit from the 5-star gem, Glenn Tolbert. We have A+ playing style, which is more than great. He will absolutely come in and, dominate probably. I think everybody on our board has committed at this point except Grimm, who is just days away from committing. Everybody else is either verbally committed or has hard committed, and we should expect to get everybody on our board. And at this point in time, our class ranking is number 6, which is pretty good. Of course, Ohio State is at number 1. They've already signed 4 5-stars. We don't care about them. At this point, we're just trying to build the best team possible. We signed 2 5-stars to their 4. We spent half the NAL that they did, so it makes sense. But still, we're building something special here in Ann Arbor. Yeah, and as you can see, things were just too good to be true. We did defeat Little Brother Michigan State, of course, as we always do, but we did slip up against Iowa. We lost 30-17. We're still ranked 20th in the country, thankfully, but yeah, we're going to need a little bit of help from Indiana and Washington if we want to make the Big Ten championship, and we're also going to need Ohio State if we want to keep our job. And if we do beat Ohio State, that's great for us, of course, but winning a conference championship this season, that's just not doable. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. Am I going to get fired even if I beat Ohio State? Maybe so, but this is the number 1 team in the country, Ohio State. If we beat them, they'll still be in playoff contention, but we'll certainly knock them down a peg. So this is a huge game for us, and also a huge game for Ohio State to maintain that number 1 ranking. This is the biggest game of the year for us, and the first time we do hop in is in the red zone at the 11-yard line. Let's see here what we can do. Hopefully a run play will get us going. Savion Hyder does get 4 yards. He has 3 rushes for 19 yards so far. Looks like Underwood's already taken a bit of a beating from the defensive line. But it's probably the part of this game that worries me the most. But let's see if we can build off of this. R1 is open. We can't get in the end zone, but a huge pass there. Bryce has also already thrown a pick. Not great for us, but still, we're deep in enemy territory. We'll see if we can get something here. We're going to throw the ball. He caught it. It's 4th and inches. We have to go for this. Of course, we're going to go with the QB sneak. See if we can get one by the defensive line. This isn't the worst outlook. Let's see what Underwood can do here. Does he get it? Oh, he doesn't. No. So unfortunately, we do not get the first down, but it looks like they were in bad position and had to bunt the ball quickly. We get it, third down. Savion Hyder has it here. A beautiful carry, 10 yards. That'll get us a first down. And here's 2nd and 7 here at the 19-yard line. A lot of our team is hot, so that is the good news. But also this defensive line, oh my goodness. Underwood barely escapes the pressure. It's going to be 3rd and 7. Let's see what the Michigan offense can cook up here. I don't like all of these deep routes necessarily, but it will work. We're going to go underneath to the tight end. Can he get there? Looks like he can. He will. We'll have a first down. I don't think we're going to do much read option here. I think we're just going to give it off to Hyder, and we do. And he gets in the end zone. Touchdown, Wolverines. Tie ball game. We find ourselves next here inside the 15-yard line. Another great position. Unfortunately, it does look like Ohio State has scored once again, but we do have a shot here to answer right back. So let's see if we can do that. Hyder was out on that play for some reason. Not sure why, but he's going to waltz his way into the end zone. That's touchdown number 2 for Savion Hyder. He has been the savior for Michigan football, presumably for this season, and most certainly for this game. And we find ourselves in the 4th quarter with a lead over the Ohio State University in the biggest game of the season. I mean, this could legitimately save my job, this performance. We're going to see Bryce Underwood scramble here. Could have definitely gone square to Andrew Marsh, but we're going to take the guaranteed yards. All of a sudden, we're in a red zone position here. And we're at the 17-yard line. The clock is ticking. We want that clock to tick off and off and off. We do not want to give Ohio State another chance. But if we do get a field goal here, even just a score, that is a 2-possession game. Savion Hyder, he does not get in, but he's down at the 1. Maybe the best game of Savion Hyder's young career. Carr in the game, I believe Tommy Carr for some reason. We're going to hand it off, I guess, because we don't want Tommy Carr to get the ball. Not sure why he's in the game and not Bryce. And now, unfortunately, our top running back is not in the game. We are going to give it to Sinclair. He's going to have a hole. He will get in. Touchdown, Wolverines. How about a 14-point lead, Ohio State? And somehow, some way, it looks like Michigan has once again scored a touchdown. It is 35-14. This game is all but over. 4th and very, very long. See if the quarterback has a chance to make a play. Oh my goodness, what a throw. Doesn't matter. They're going to once again go for it on 4th down here. We are prepared for anything and everything. Even if they do score a touchdown, it's not the end of the world. He can scramble in for a touchdown all he wants and try to hype up the crowd. How about a 2-possession loss, buddy? Hold this L. You know, the Ohio State players, they can celebrate at the end of the end zone all they want. The University of Michigan just defeated Ohio State University. And they just knocked off the #1 team in the country at home. The huge performance. Maybe a job-saving performance for me. Maybe a roster-saving performance for some of these players. Savion Hyder with an absolute heater of a game. 133, 2 touchdowns. That's what you talk about when you talk about legends. This is a legend-making performance for him. And certainly, hopefully, not the last that we see him in the maize and blue. And the Heisman Trophy will go to Alabama's quarterback, Keelan Russell. Seems like he had a pretty good year. 34 touchdowns, 3,700 passing yards, We're unfortunately going to be playing in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Certainly not the worst bowl to play in, but we're looking for playoff berths at this point in time. Unfortunately, it looks as though that loss to Buffalo probably kept us out. And, who could blame you? You're a Power 5 team losing to Buffalo. That, unfortunately, just kills any hopes we had. Even this Iowa win. If we beat Iowa, we then beat number 5 Ohio State. Who knows? Michigan very well could have been in the college football playoff, but, I'm happy with how this season ended up. 9-3 is not, where exactly you want to be, but we're showing signs of progress. From 6-6 to 9-3, who knows? Maybe this time next year we'll be 12-0, 12-1, 13-0. Who knows where exactly we're going to be? But if we can continue to make the right progress, this could very well be a national championship team next year. And on to National Signing Day, Glenn Tolbert here, the middle linebacker gem, only star dev. Maybe if you look at these stats, you'd think he'd be an elite dev, but you can't complain. This guy is a day one instant impact starter. Then you look at Gabe McKissick. He has elite dev, 94 speed as a corner. If we don't win the national championship next year, he will certainly be a defensive cornerstone for the future. star dev for Bryce another corner, star dev for a guard, normal dev, and star dev for 2 guards. So that's 3 out of the 4 guards that we signed have star dev. That's, you like to see that. Another star dev for a corner, normal for a safety, impact for a tight end, star for a tight end. I will absolutely take this. It's a small class, so I don't expect us to see us that high in the rankings, but 17th for a 870 NIL, I will absolutely take that. In case you were wondering, yes, we actually did win our bowl game. We defeated Syracuse 27-24. Maybe not the sexiest result, but hey, we could probably sell to the board of directors that we had some players sit out. The national championship game, in case you're wondering, is going to be between, oh my god, you gotta be kidding, Oregon and Ohio State, 2 teams who we defeated earlier this season. You just have to think, what if? What if we didn't look past the Iowas and the Buffaloes of the world, where this team could be? We dominated Oregon, we dominated Ohio State, and both of these teams are going to play for the national championship. We are 2 of these teams' 5 combined losses. So if that doesn't tell you that this team is national championship worthy, I don't know what does. And unfortunately for us, Ohio State does win a national championship before Michigan. So, not the best sign. I see that my job security also fell 20 points after that week. So, not the best. Andrew Marsh wants to leave. We want him back, of course. Wow, we could give him a lot of NIL money. 590 is the most we can give him. I'm actually going to give him that much. And the same with Bryce. I'm going to offer Bryce as much as we can so that he hopefully does not leave. Wow, we are offering these guys a lot of money. Jamie French wants to leave. Please come back. We need our top players to come back. I can't believe everybody wants to leave. We had a pretty good year last year, so I'm pretty shocked that everyone wants to leave. Meadows wants to leave. Please stay. Sinclair can go, actually. Wow. There goes a lot of our NIL budget. We're going to be running short with some transfers here. We're even going to be paying Tommy Carr 75 NIL just to be a backup quarterback. That shows you how much we care. All right. Unfortunately, shockingly, Savion Hyder wants to leave for playing time. It's not guaranteed, but it's very high that we bring him back, and I'll be honest with you, I'm a little nervous over that, because his playing time is A+. If he wanted more money, he could have just told us. He was not in the high-risk section. But before we do that, I guess we'll try Ian Geffrard. He decided to stay, so that's great. Anyone else here? CJ Khalid, we would love for him to come back. Thankfully, he does. Dane Ball can leave. Saturday can leave. We'll find a new kicker in the portal. Tommy Carr wants to leave. We'll try to bring him back, and he does not come back. And now here is the big boy. Also, Daniel Sinclair leaves, but that doesn't matter much. We need Savion Hyder back. Please. Thank the heavens. Savion Hyder has decided to come back for his junior year. It would have been one thing if next year he decided to leave for the draft, but just to leave outright, that would have absolutely killed me. So thankfully, he decides to come back for one more year. That also lets me know that our top guys decided to stay. Underwood, Marsh. We have our big 3, essentially, of weapons that we have, and we know what we need to fill out. We need a better offensive line. We need better pressure. We need a better kicker, I guess. And we just need to be a better all-around team around those guys so that they can succeed at the highest level. Now, if you look at our board now and you see we have 70 NIL remaining, that may seem a little alarming. And, you're probably right. But look, we're going all in, if you can't tell. This isn't going to be our last year, but I really think that we have the makings of a national championship team, and because of that, we're going all out. Now, are we going to get every single player that we have on our board? Absolutely not. But I might as well just go all out for the best players in the country. The best tackles, the best guards, the best edges, the best linebackers, the best corners. The corners I think we actually have a good shot at. Some of the linebackers, I think we could maybe get one of these edges if we're lucky. Then hopefully a couple of these guards and these tackles. But you might as well go all out in the last year if we do think this is the last year. And I do think that this is a good football team. So I'm going to do everything in my ability to do that. And if that means spending 2,000 NIL on this recruiting class, then so be it. And also, before I forget, here's some of the draft class results. Jake Wanera, I forgot he was a senior, to be quite honest with you, but he does go round 1 as an 87 overall center. He's very great for us. He was an All-American, so congratulations to him. Des Ricks, the transfer, goes 3rd round. Andrew Sprague in the 4th. Nicholson and Riddle both go in the 5th. These are big losses for our team. This is our secondary and this is our offensive line. And hopefully through this transfer portal, we can replenish. All right, let's get a little quick check-in here, week 3 of the transfer portal. Isaiah Marshall is just going to be a nice little backup quarterback. DJ Vonaham, we don't really need tight end. We went pretty hard after that in last transfer portal, but this guy has 87 awareness and 87 speed. At 6'4", 241, you just can't teach that. And 50-50, sure hands abilities, 88 catching. This guy would be easily one of the better players on our team if he came. Malachi Goodman is the number 4 player in the country. We had him on a visit with one of these guards, Sam Roseborough. The visit went fine. He did not verbal, unfortunately, so I believe Ohio State will probably overtake us. But if we can get Malachi Goodman, that absolutely shores up our offensive line. Dimitri Manning should hopefully commit this week. We have him on a visit. Rosenborough should hopefully commit this week as well, though we'll see if Auburn or Penn State jump into the mix. Evan Lawrence should be ours. Same with Max Buchanan. Luke Waffle? I believe this guy's real. We have him on a visit with a couple other recruits here, so hopefully that goes well. We're also going after this running back, and you may think 190 NIL for a backup running back is crazy, and you're definitely right. But 90 juke move, 89 change of direction, 86 spin move. We need a better backup running back, someone who can take the pressure off of Savion Hyder. I think Dremeco Green could definitely do that. And he's just a sophomore. He can certainly improve. He's just a 3-star in the portal, I know, but we have him on a visit. I really believe in his talents as a good backup running back. And yeah, essentially this transfer portal is just cleaning up the edges. We really do think we have the quarterback, the starting running back, we have the receivers. We're just getting a tight end, focusing on the O-line, getting another pass rusher, helping out, the linebacking core, helping out the secondary. We're just kind of working on the edges here and then, hopefully keeping our main pieces and helping them develop throughout this offseason so that we can win a national championship next year. And now here on National Signing Day, unfortunately we do lose out on a couple of players because Dimitri Manning did sign with us as well as, Nick Hankins. But unfortunately we lose out on them because of the playing time deal breaker, which, if this was a problem, I don't know why it didn't appear before week 4, but, it is what it is. You can't really change it. Unfortunately, they do not sign with us, but we still do get a good corner prospect. We still do get 2 good guards. It helps out our offensive line. Nothing wrong with that. So let's take a look at some dev traits here. Isaiah Marshall, our backup, just impact dev. Star dev for the tight end. Just normal for the guard. That hurts a little bit. Impact for the other guard. Luke Waffle has elite. Waffle? I'll call him Waffle because, I don't want to call him Luke Waffle. That makes him sound like he's just a nobody. Luke Waffle. If it is Waffle, I apologize, sir. But elite dev. 6'6", 267. Jesus, he could beat me up. So please don't watch this, please. Sincere Johnson also has elite dev. Star dev for Carlavon Young. Dejae White impact. Star dev for a corner here. Dremeco Green has normal dev. That's okay though. Again, we just want to see him really as a number 2 option, so that's not really the end of the world. All right, we're here at player progression. Like I said earlier, I don't normally do it for every single player. I normally leave a couple skill points for everybody, and this year I'd say remain mostly the same, though I did help out some of our players, especially some of our seniors and upperclassmen. I help them out a little bit more than I normally would because I want to win a national championship with them. Ian Geffrard, maybe shockingly, is our best player overall-wise. The 97 overall is, of course, because of tactician boosts. I hired new coordinators in the offseason, so that helps. Also, I believe Donkey Kong is a tactician, or maybe he's a recruiter. I don't remember. Still, he certainly helps out in one way or another. So Geffrard is a 97 overall. 48 speed is actually ridiculous to be 97 overall, but 99 strength, I believe his block shedding is somewhere around like a 99 as well. So he will be ridiculous in the interior defensive line. Bryce Underwood is going to be a surefire first-round pick, maybe even a Heisman favorite going into the season. Andrew Marsh, 97 overall as a senior. Jamie French right behind him at a 96. I don't know, they might be the best 1-2 punch at receiver since, like, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Never heard of those guys? Charlie Christopher, he's a junior. Only 83 speed at linebacker, certainly not bad. But 91 awareness, 80 strength, he'll certainly play. I forgot to mention that he's on the team. He's on the roster. He's on the team. He's a guy who just kind of popped up out of nowhere. Sometimes that happens in this game where you don't know that he's on the team and then he kind of pops up out of nowhere. And I went after him last transfer portal. He committed somewhere else. And all of a sudden, I look on my roster this year and he's on the team. Was he on the team last year? I don't think so, considering I set the depth chart, but who knows, maybe I overlooked him because I am an idiot. Savion Hyder, junior running back, of course, 94 speed, 95 acceleration. His awareness got higher, carrying got higher. That's what you want from him. Andrew Babalola, 91 overall, our best offensive lineman. A couple of other great defensive tackles. Carter Meadows at 89 overall. I mean, I could just keep going down the list of great player after great player. But honestly, this is just the best team Michigan has boasted since the 2023 title team. And if this team does not win a national championship, and if they lose to a team like Buffalo and Western Michigan, then I don't know what to do anymore. This is the best team I've made on College Football 27 at this point. All right, let's take a look at our schedule here heading into year number 3. By the way, 96 overall team, 96 overall offense, 96 overall defense. Certainly one of the best teams in the country. Thankfully, we do not play in Oklahoma or Texas this year. Instead, we play Georgia State, UConn, and FCS Midwest. Actually, I just had this thought. It might actually be worse that we're playing these teams, considering that we did beat Oklahoma and Texas, but we lost to 2 mid-majors. So, I'm not going to overthink it. This should be easy wins. 3-9 Georgia State. UConn went 9-4, so good for them last year. Good for them, but we're just a better team all around. We only play 2 ranked opponents this year. At Washington, that'll be tough, and at Ohio State. In fact, I think those are going to be the only 2 games that I jump into this year. Because, to be quite honest with you, this team should beat every other team in front of them. This is one of the best teams in College Football 27 at the moment. And, you can't do much better than this for now. And let's take a look at my recruiting board right now. And, you're looking at this right. We need to win a national championship this year. And I'm so confident that we will, that I am not recruiting a single person. This is essentially the make it or break it last year. If we don't win the national championship, I think I should be fired, considering that I spent, if you convert these NIL points to real life money, I probably spent like $15-20 million on this year's roster. So if we don't even make the playoff, if we don't win the national championship, then I'm not sure why I would still deserve a job. If you go to the Heisman Watch, my God, we have the top 4 players in the Heisman Watch, and we're only the number 8 team in the country. So, again, you're not going to see this ever again. You will never see a team have the top 4 Heisman Trophy odds, or the Heisman Trophy projection. So, this team should win a national championship, and they should do it with ease. Looks like we also have new expectations here. So we don't actually get a reward for completing any of these expectations. It's just, this is just supposed to happen. We're supposed to maintain the national powerhouse facilities. Of course, we've already had that goal for the last 2 seasons. We don't have we don't have any say in getting any NIL for that. Beat Ohio State by 3+ points. That should be easy, considering we beat them by 14 last year. We are going at Ohio State though, so this will be a little different. And then we have to win 80% of our home games this season. We're at Washington, at Ohio State, and those are our only 2 ranked games. So 80% of our home games this season, this should be an absolute 100% win. Quick little early season update here. We are 3-0. We beat all the teams in front of us, of course. But unfortunately, Myron Charles, a partial PCL tear, 5-week injury. He is our defensive tackle too, so it's not the biggest problem, but still certainly will not help us in the next couple of weeks when we go at Washington. So quick update here. We're going to step in before the Washington game because we're going to be playing Nebraska at home, and they're the number 8 team in the country. But I was just shocked by something that I saw. I don't remember who we played last week, but I got a notification that the player of the week of the Big Ten was Michigan's quarterback, which, great. Michigan's quarterback deserves to be the player of the week. But that quarterback was not Bryce Underwood. It was Isaiah Marshall, the transfer quarterback. The guy who I was like, you know what? Let's just get him just in case. You know why he's in the game? Because Bryce Underwood is hurt. And you may be thinking, you know what? Bryce Underwood's hurt. Maybe it's just a couple of weeks, right? Right? Nope. Compound foot fracture, 13 weeks. That's essentially the entire season. He is done. Maybe if we make the national championship, he'll come back. But not only are we missing him, but we have been absolutely ravaged by injuries. It's a good thing that I haven't noticed because we are still undefeated. And that just shows you how great this team is. But When was the last time you've seen a team have 6 injuries to their players? All of these players are starters, pretty much, by the way. Vallejo and Charles are essentially defensive tackle, too. But still, these players all see the field, and they're all starters. Like, what is this, college football 27? What are we doing here? You know, it's funny that I was looking at this season, and I was like, you know what? This is the one season where things haven't completely imploded by week, week 7, week 8. I don't know what week we're in, but this is the one week where things haven't completely imploded on themselves. And then, you know, you check the injury report, and this might be the worst season to date. I cannot believe that half of my roster is hurt. Why? How? I don't know, to be quite honest with you. But this is just annoying that we're playing a top 10 team in the country, and we have a backup quarterback in. And it looks like even Marshall himself has a bit of a limp right now. He does, left hip, of course. We're going to find ourselves, oh my goodness, that's about as close as you can get to not getting a touchdown, but we're going to find ourselves inside the 1. Easy, quick touchdown for Savion Hyder. I'm sure he's done that a lot this year with the rest of his core injured around him. Michigan takes a quick 7-0 lead, even with a backup quarterback in the game. Let me say that Isaiah Marshall, you know, his balls are, that sounds so crass. His, when he throws the ball, why did I say the word crass? Like I'm 50 years old. You know, when he throws the ball, it's just not the prettiest. And they're normally behind him, and, you know, they're not the prettiest. But he gets him to his receiver. I'll give him that much, especially for someone who is, deemed a pure running archetype. Savion Hyder gets a first down there. And, you know, he wasn't expecting to, you know, become the starting quarterback here. You know, he was just a replacement. He was just someone who was, oh my goodness, that was terrible, though probably good that was not near the defense, but he was not expecting to be a starting quarterback. You know, he was just going to come in, get a nice payday, ride the bench a little bit. You know, this is going to be his last moments in college football, but instead he has to start for the number 3 team in the country, and he'll have to start for them if they want to win a national championship. We're going to find Buchanan here, and Marshall overthrows him. You know, we can make these types of throws against Nebraska, but when it gets to Ohio State in a couple of weeks, I am not excited. I will say, though, the next time I jump into the game, it is 21-0, and we have a big lead here in the big house. We need a big lead to, you know, oh boy, that was not the best decision. Thankfully, the DB does not like that. We need a big lead to counteract maybe some of the play of Marshall. Then again, he is hot, and he's the only player on our team that is hot, so clearly he is doing something right. And after it's all said and done, our backup quarterback literally just beat a top 10 team in the country by 14 points. Of course, Savion Hyder played a big role in that, but, I mean, Marshall played a pretty good game, and from what we saw, he actually has some potential, and, you know, maybe even with the backup quarterback, this is still a national championship level team. But before we even look at a potential national championship, we have to get through the schedule that's in front of us. And we do lose 26-21 to Washington, at Washington. You know, that's a tough loss, certainly. But when you check the injury report and you're like, you know, when is Bryce Underwood going to come back? Oh, it's still 11 weeks, that sucks. When Myron Charles came back, the defensive tackle, we immediately lose our starting right tackle to an ACL tear, and he'll be out for just as long as Bryce Underwood. So just when you think things might get better, you know, when you finally get back one of your best pass rushers, you're immediately just thrown back down on the ground when you realize now that your second tight end, your starting right tackle, your starting center, your starting quarterback, your starting Mike linebacker are all hurt. Thankfully, Mr. DJ Khaled will be back next week, so things won't be too bad, but as long as Bryce Underwood is out, unfortunately, we might be in for a rough rest of the season. And now, once again, we do have another change of plans because it seems as though USC has had an incredible start to the season, and they are going to be ranked number 10 in the college football playoff top 25 rankings. Number 1 is Alabama. Number 2, unfortunately, Ohio State. Number 3 is a team we just beat in Nebraska, so why are they above us? I'm not sure. Anyways, if we beat USC, we might take that number 2 or number 3 spot from one of our Big Ten foes. And this is going to be a big matchup for us. Another top 10 opponent at the Big House. You know, certainly if we get a victory here, we are 10 overalls better than them. If we get a victory here, it could be huge. even if we do drop another game, I would say that that almost guarantees us a college football playoff spot. What Marshall can bring up here. He's going to find the tight end open over the middle. It's overthrown. It looks like Coach Donkey Kong is going to keep the offense out on the field. That's right. We'll see what Michigan can do here. There's no one over the middle of the field. That's a wide open throw. A great catch. And a first down for the Wolverines. It's going to be 2nd and goal here at about the 1.5 yard line. This is just an obvious run attempt here for the Wolverines. And oh my goodness, Savion Hyder. You maybe went a little too fast for me. Not many times where you could say that a player is so fast that he ruins the way that you run. But Savion Hyder is just that. This time, he'll waltz into the end zone for a touchdown. Big 3rd down here early in the 2nd quarter. Isaiah Marshall is hot. Hyder is hot, of course. He has a wide open lane up the middle. No QB spy. He's going to make you pay every single time. And now all of a sudden we're in a situation where our defense really needs to stand up and hold. 3rd and 3, stadium pulse rocking. Can we make a stop? We cover that over the middle of the field, and he drops it. Oh my goodness. 3:17 on the clock. 1st and 10 at around the 50-yard line. We're up by 4. We just need to run this clock out. We're just going to continue handing the ball off to Savion Hyder. A beautiful juke, but he jukes right into the lineman. It's going to be 3rd down. I probably should have put on juke clock before the start of the last play, but unfortunately it looks like our possession has run a little dry, and we're going to have to punt it back to the USC offense. And because it's so close in the late game, we're going to have to jump in, of course. Stadium pulse is going ridiculous. Michigan defense, we need one more stop. Gonna run the ball here, nowhere to go. About 2 minutes left here. Of course, they could hold it for the 2-minute warning. Not. Yep, looks like they'll get one more playoff. It's gonna be a handoff over the middle, and that completely fooled our defense, and he's gonna keep going. That'll take them to the 2-minute warning. Thankfully, of course, they need a touchdown, but, based off that run, I'm not so confident. We're going to blitz up the middle, get to the quarterback. We got him. Big sack. And all of a sudden, the USC offense is about 1:30 left, 90 seconds on the clock. Not much time to operate. And that's a jump ball in the backfield. I'm not sure what they're thinking here. But this is a 4th and ridiculously long. No, we can't, unfortunately. They're going to go over the middle. It's caught, but short of the first down marker. Let's go. Of course, USC is still in the game. They have 3 timeouts, but a first down essentially ends it for us. We have one of the best running backs in the country. Unfortunately, these injuries have just completely ravaged our offensive line. I think before the year, there's probably 3 or 4 stars on the offensive line. Now there's 0 in this game. Not the best sign for the future, but of course still doable. Savion Hyder gets about 5 there. And it's 3rd and 5. We're going to have to pass the ball here. I'm looking for one of those tight end crossers, of course. Let's see if they can get open. We're going to pass it to him anyway. I should have given it to Hyder in the backfield. Oh well. Our defense is going to need one more stop again. USC has 55 seconds, 1 timeout, and a dream, I guess. But we're going to need to crush these dreams sooner rather than later. A jump throw across the middle of the field. Come on. I mean, just an absolutely ridiculous play as quarterback will spike it here. 46 seconds left. They still have their timeout. 60 yards to go. We need a stop terribly. One-on-one coverage. The receiver catches it. No way. Oh, my goodness. Everything that could have gone wrong in the last 30 seconds has gone wrong. And all of a sudden, they are within striking distance. In this scenario, we're just going to have to trust our man-to-man defense, hope that we can get to the quarterback. Across the middle, it's dropped by the tight end. I'm actually going to give credit to the cornerback there. I believe he did get his hand on the ball, but still, I mean, it was certainly catchable for the tight end. So, thank the Lord. Going to find him over the middle. The clock needs to keep running. Get him down. Brings him down. 4th and inches. This is a huge play. They're going to call timeout, rightfully so. 4th and inches. No ability to stop the clock even if they do get this first down. You just have to hope. Fourth down, they're going to throw it deep, one-on-one coverage. It's dropped. What incredible coverage from our corners there in the last couple of possessions. A big knockdown on the tight end and a great knockdown there, 4th and inches. I don't know why they're going deep on 4th and inches. I know, they don't have all the time left, but still maybe something quick out of bounds probably could have caught us off guard. But Michigan, with a backup quarterback, has just beaten 2 top 10 opponents in the last 4 weeks. Unbelievable. Just 1 week later, the Wolverines take down the Spartans' little brother in a 30-point victory. They have a bye week, and now it's time for the game of the year. Number 4 going on the road to number 1. This is probably for a spot in the Big Ten Championship. Big noon kickoff. I mean, this is the game of the week, game of the century for us, to be quite honest with you. And unfortunately, Bryce Underwood's still a ways away from coming back. 7 weeks. If we make the playoff, I do believe he might come back for the national championship if I'm doing my math correctly. At that point, do you even start him, or do you just stay with, the backup quarterback? That's an interesting question, surely. But at this point, we need to focus on the team ahead of us, and that's Ohio State. I would also say as we start this game that even if we do lose this, I would still say that we're guaranteed a spot in the college football playoff. I'd be shocked, honestly, if we didn't get in based off our 10-1 record. The committee, I know it's a video game committee, they should see that, we've been through a lot of injuries. We have a backup quarterback. Then again, I guess that hurt Florida State a couple of years ago, but even still, I have no clue what this play is, by the way. Play action, gonna roll out, gonna have to throw this away. That was just a complete waste of a play. All right, this is a pretty big play here. At the beginning of the second quarter, 3rd and 4. We're already down 7-0. Let's see here if we can find someone open. We're going to find the tight end there. And what a catch. Isaiah Marshall, maybe a little bit too much mustard on that one. But what a catch here that'll put us in the red zone. And we get to take over now. That could, I'm not even exaggerating here, that could legitimately be the catch that saves our season. As Hyder's going to get a first down there, down at the 3. That catch right there, absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe that just happened. We're going to have our backup running back in here, too. This is the first time we've seen Green all year long. Certainly not as fast as Hyder, but shifty enough to find the hole in the offensive line. Get a touchdown, and we'll tie it up here at Ohio Stadium. And all of a sudden, we force a 3 and out, and now it's a tie ball game at the 41-yard line. Let's see what Marshall can do. There's going to be a blitz here. Pressure off the edge. Gonna need a prayer. Gonna find Hyder, and he drops it. No. The moment, I guess, was just too big for him. Oh my goodness. Out of all times to drop that pass. We're gonna go for it on 4th down anyway. It doesn't matter, but we're gonna see pressure a little bit there. We're gonna give another chance to Hyder. That one was a much worse idea. Probably should have rolled out. But we somehow get the ball back almost immediately. Another 3rd and long scenario. Just no sacks. Need to stay in field goal range. We're going to get out here. He's not fast enough. Oh, he is. Marshall. He's going to go all the way. No, he's not. Another big opportunity for the Wolverines. It's time we cash in with another handoff to the number 1 running back in the country. Savion Hyder. Touchdown. Wolverines in the lead. And how about another red zone opportunity for you? How about another opportunity inside the 10? How about another touchdown potentially? Marshall just going to go up straight up the middle. How about you taunt a little bit? 2-possession lead in Ohio Stadium. Who would have guessed? And despite a late push from the Buckeyes, Michigan holds on. We take a huge commanding lead. I believe it was 24-7 at one point. They make a late little push in the end of the game, but not enough to make me worried enough to press record on this. Ohio State going off frustrated, upset like we were just a couple of years ago. But now, we come into Ohio Stadium. We defeat the Buckeyes, and presumably, we're now the number 1 team in the country. And as we predicted, the Michigan Wolverines, once again at the number 1 ranked position at the college football playoff, top 25, heading into the conference championship week. This is not a glitch if you see the this week bar. That's right, Michigan Wolverines are going to rematch the Ohio State Buckeyes in the conference championship. We just beat them on their own turf, so why can't we beat them on a neutral field? This is going to be our first defensive moment in some time. I'm not sure why I only get the offensive moments, but it's a crucial third down here. They're going to be at midfield. Let's see what the Ohio State offense goes with. A deep shot down the field. Beautiful coverage. Looks like we force a punt on that drive, and all of a sudden we have a nice drive going ourselves. Third down, let's try to trick them with a little screen play here. We just don't block the corner that's right there, but that's okay. Because at the start of the second quarter, we're going to take a field goal, go up 3-0, nice and easy. 4th and 1 here. This is a crucial play. I could see them going a number of different routes. If this is play action, oh my goodness. It is in play action. Well, it's not play action. It's just a pass play. It is completely botched. And all of a sudden, we're back in the driver's seat. 3rd and 7 in Ohio State territory. I mean, I'm going to at least check and see if Marsh will be open deep there. If not, I'll look for a tight end over the middle. Looks like they're going to double team that route down there. The linebacker's not even looking at the ball. Doesn't matter. Tight end makes a catch. Maybe the biggest decision in this entire dynasty has been going after that tight end in the transfer portal. Von Name, I'll call him, DJ Von Main. Yeah, he is ridiculous. Incredible speed, incredible catching ability. If we didn't have him, we would not be in this situation right now. But unfortunately for us, something that I just noticed here, Savion Hyder will be out for the rest of the game with a dislocated shoulder. So now we're out of our starting right tackle, our starting quarterback, and our starting running back. No excuses. Let's just get a win here. 3rd and 15. This is certainly not the play to run on 3rd and 15, but we'll switch it up here. See what Isaiah Marshall has in store for us. Could go over the middle, maybe just run a little bit. Marshall, just don't fumble. Thank you. You know, you hate to only go up by 6 in this position, but at a certain point, you just have to take what you can get. And without a starting quarterback and a starting running back, being up 6-0 against one of the best teams in all of college football, you know, you're just going to have to take it. And thankfully, our defense is just completely locking down Ohio State's offense. So we have a lot of opportunities here. Unfortunately, Marshall is dealing with some right shoulder wear and tear. That's not what you want to hear from a quarterback, but we'll see if he can power through it. Quick route there to Marsh. Jesus, that ball was low. But thankfully, it looks like he'll continue fighting through it. 2nd and inches here on the play action. We're just going to dump it off to the running back. Just get out of bounds. That works. We're just looking for quick points here. We're looking for 3 points. You know, just get 20, 30 yards in the next minute, and I will be absolutely happy. Going to try and throw it to Andrew Marsh. That is almost picked off. My goodness. Just a ridiculous play from the defensive line there. I feel like we've been getting a lot of our balls batted down recently, but maybe that's just me, and that is screaming right off the edge. We just have 3 linemen looking around saying, whose responsibility was that? It's probably yours, bucko. Gonna hurt my backup quarterback. You kidding me? That's 3rd and forever. Gonna need a miracle here. Marshall just gonna throw a prayer up. That was nowhere close. And here we are once again on defense. 3rd and 8, pivotal situation in the game because our offense is just not going to be scoring many more points today. We need a big stop. We need to hold them to like 0 points today, to be quite honest with you. Man coverage over the middle. What a catch from their tight end. You just have to respect that. But we hold them to another 3rd down situation. This is big. If we could go Stubbs, a strong safety. I have a feeling something is coming over the top, and I will not be happy if they get a big completion here. It looks like the quarterback's actually going to scramble here. Makes the wise decision by going for a slide. I believe Tommy Denton is actually the quarterback that we went after in year number 1. I don't know how I haven't noticed that this far, but what great storytelling here. The guy who I thought could be potentially the Bryce Underwood successor, now playing for Ohio State. Ball is completely overthrown. It looks like the Michigan Wolverines going to get the ball back here. My goodness, this is a defensive struggle, a la Indiana, Ohio State from last year. Just nothing going on either side of the offense, or on either side's offense, I should say. Looks like Ohio State's going to start using some timeouts. That reminds me that I need to press Chew Clock. There's crying Ryan Day over there on the sideline. Marshall has been taking a beating. His right elbow now. It was his shoulder, now it's his elbow. I guess that's bothering him. Rightfully so, man. He needs to rest up after this. Green is also taking a beating here. but 8 carries for 47 yards. You can't ask for much more from a backup running back. Now it's going to be 3rd and 6. I guess I'm going to go for a passing play here. To be quite honest, I do not trust Marshall in the first place, but Marshall with an elbow injury just sounds like a recipe for disaster. But that ball is on the money. That right there is one of the best balls that I have seen thrown in this video today. And that saves us immensely. That not only guarantees us a field goal, that also guarantees us minutes drained off the clock. What a huge throw from Nate Marshall. 3rd and 3 here. A touchdown essentially gives us the win, but I'm also okay with going down and taking a field goal. But of course, 6 points, I'll take that over anything. And Nate Marshall in victory formation, one of the ugliest scores you will see in your life. 12-0. The Wolverines are going to walk out of Indianapolis for the first time since 2023 as Big Ten champions. There's head coach Donkey Kong, proud of his guys. He started at 6-6. And at this point in time, now he's leading a backup quarterback and a backup running back to the Big Ten championship over the team's arch rival. 12-0 is their final score. That sounds like a fake score, to be quite honest with you. How many times in football history has a game ended 12-0? I'd say maybe like 3 or 4 times, and maybe the last time was in 1924. But either way, the Wolverines walk out of Indianapolis Big Ten champions. The Heisman Trophy going to go to Darius Williams, the Clemson quarterback. 3,600 yards, 30 touchdowns. You'd have to wonder if this is a fraudulent Heisman, considering that Bryce Underwood was hurt, and he probably would have won the Heisman for, you guessed it, the number 1 team in the country. The Michigan Wolverines are the number 1 team in the country. But before we get to that reveal, I guess, forgot to mention, Savion Hyder wins the Doak Walker Award, 6 yards per carry on average, 1,174 yards. Just a ridiculous year all around for him. Where it looks like our center is going to win the best center award. Let's see here. Any other awards for us? Or I'm sorry, I believe actually this is the best center. The other one was for the best offensive line in the country. So, or maybe even the best interior lineman. I need to get my awards straight. But yes, the Michigan Wolverines are the number 1 team in the country. Let's take a look at our college football playoff bracket. Oh my goodness. We're waiting on the winner of Miami and Ohio State. Looks like the Buckeyes won a trilogy. Well, if you want some, come get some, my friends. And while we have a break here, let's take a look at some season stats. I actually think I forgot to do this last year, so my apologies. But Nate Marshall, our starting quarterback for 9 games this year, or probably starting quarterback for only 7, considering Bryce played 5, or maybe 8. I can't do math. Isaiah Marshall, 1,300 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 picks. Not bad for a backup, especially for a pure runner archetype. But Bryce Underwood in 5 games, or I'd assume 4.5, considering he got hurt in one of these games. 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 pick. This guy was on track to win the Heisman Trophy. And unfortunately, looking at the bowl schedule, it looks like he actually will not make it back for the national championship. So we might be screwed. But Savion Hyder, All-American, Doak Walker Award winner. About 1,200 rushing yards will round up for him. 18 touchdowns, just a ridiculous season for him. 0 fumbles, you love to see it. And then receiving-wise, maybe not the sexiest numbers for anybody, but again, we were a revolving door at quarterback, so you can't really blame anyone there. And in terms of our defense, 11.5 sacks for Luke Waffle, 11 sacks for Carter Meadows. That's what you like to see from our guys. And then in terms of interceptions, my goodness, 5 for Charlie Christopher, the outside linebacker, 4 for Josiah Edmond, 3 for Drake Stubbs, and then 1 apiece for a couple others. Just a ridiculous season from Charlie Christopher. 55 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 5 picks, any fumbles, 2 deflections, 2 forced fumbles. Just a ridiculous season, absolutely deserving of the All-American award that it looks like he won. But enough talk of the past, let's look forward to the future that hopefully holds a national championship for us. Ohio State, of course, crumbles in the biggest moment like they did against us twice, and now we're going to play Miami in the Rose Bowl game. That's an interesting matchup. We're going to jump into this game here with a 3rd and 5. There's a lot of Miami fans here, shockingly. Neither of these teams pretty close to California, but still big fan bases for both here. We unfortunately will miss that first round marker, but we will take the field goal, go up 3-0 real quick. Oh my goodness, look at how much that's shaking right now. See if we can make this here. The kick is up, and it just barely sneaks in through the left upright. And it looks like we did force a quick 3 now. Again, I'm just doing the moments, and it seems like my defense is doing a lot of the heavy carrying. So, not sure what that says about me. Maybe that just says I'm a great recruiter. Unfortunately, we do take a sack there. Certainly not a good player of the game. I'll say that much. But once again, it looks like our defense is just doing its job and setting us up in the right position, because we find ourselves early in the second quarter with a huge opportunity. Savion Hyder inches away from the end zone. We're going to give it to him once more with this speed option here on the outside. I don't think they're going to be expecting this. Actually, you know what? It's actually going to go to Green. So let's see what Green can do in this opportunity. Or Marshall can just take it in himself. Quick touchdown for the Wolverines. How about a double-digit lead in the Rose Bowl? And once again, late in the second quarter, our defense sets us up perfectly inside the 20-yard line. It's going to be quick and easy here to the tight end. What a catch. My goodness. This guy just catches everything. I have never seen a tight end in this game legitimately catch everything. Von name, if you can get him in the portal, I don't know if he's a real guy, but if he's a real guy, if you can get him in the portal, he will get you an instant national championship. Let's throw it to him once again for a quick and easy touchdown. And now it's 17-0. This game could quickly get out of hand, but before we even talk about games getting out of hand, we need to make sure that we can secure this victory. Isaiah Marshall with a huge first down run. Now we're back in the red zone. If we score a touchdown here, this is a 24-point game, 4 possessions. Well, I guess technically 3, but you'd essentially need a miracle to get 3 touchdowns on 3 straight 2-point conversions. Marshall's going to take off again inside the 5, down at the 4, rumbling and tumbling all the way inside the 5-yard line. And who else but Savion Hyder is going to get this carry inside the red zone, maybe the most reliable option in all of college football, 27. How funny would it be if I'm talking him up right now and he doesn't score? Let's see. Yep. Savion Hyder, as always, gets in the end zone. And to add some salt in the wound, Michigan scores 2 late touchdowns, 38-0 in the Rose Bowl with a backup quarterback. That is embarrassing for the University of Miami. Truly shameful. The fireworks are going off from the University of Michigan Wolverines. Waiting for us in the Peach Bowl, it's going to be Memphis. You know, I've seen that they've been on the up-and-coming the past couple of years in this game, but I did not expect them to beat... Who did they beat? I believe they beat Alabama. Let's see. Yep, a 27-24 win over Alabama. Extremely impressive, but unfortunately for the Memphis Tigers, they are running into a buzzsaw. And let me say this. If we win, we're playing either Nebraska or Iowa. Iowa, we are 1-1 with, I believe, and Nebraska, I believe, we've beaten every time we've played them, or maybe we've only played them once and we beat them that time. I think it was this year, but favorable matchup awaiting for us if we do defeat the Memphis Tigers, who we are 17 overalls better than. This should be quick and easy. 3rd and 7 here at about the 50-yard line. Isaiah Marshall, we'll see if he has a couple more all-time performances in him. How about a run? Can he push forward? He can't, but it is 4th down, 4th and 1. Might as well go for it. Might as well go balls to the wall, put it all on the table. Can Hyder get 1 yard? He can't. The Tigers with an incredible stop there at around midfield. And you know, I was talking a lot of trash in the menus, but now we're looking at the game. We're down 6-0 against Memphis. And all of a sudden, this game is very losable for us, but a huge 3rd down conversion pushes us deep in the red zone. J.J. Buchanan, haven't heard his name a lot throughout this, but he's been a solid number 3 option. Now we're looking at a 3rd and 1 at our own, I'm sorry, not at our own 6, but at Memphis' 6. Deep in our red zone, I guess you could say. They're going to blitz heavy. We're going to find our tight end, and he's going to get in. I'm not sure if that was a touchdown, but we will take the score. But unfortunately, it looks as though an interception with 30 seconds left in the half puts Memphis deep in the red zone. That is just the exact last thing that you'd want. But we might get a sack here. Beautiful job from Carter Meadows. So maybe we can continue pushing Memphis out of field goal range, but at this point that seems pretty unlikely. Big catch there. It'll be, I believe, 3rd and goal. 14 seconds left. There's certainly a way for Memphis to screw this up time-wise. They have to get the field goal unit on pretty quickly. We'll see if they can do that. If we can get a sack here, it would be huge for us. Unfortunately, it won't be a sack, but the clock is going to continue running here. And it's going to expire on the Memphis Tigers. What a huge tackle there. And Memphis will not capitalize on ridiculous field goal position. The Wolverines are going to go into the half with just a 1-point lead, but a lead nonetheless. Big third down here at around midfield. We'd like to, of course, expand this lead past just 1 point. It's going to be a big run for Isaiah Marshall. That'll get us a big first down. And all of a sudden, how about another third down for you? 3rd and 6 here for the Wolverines. We're going to probably need to pass here. We're going to throw it to Jamie French. Big catch. But what a huge catch on third down there to set us up inside the red zone. And Savion Hyder's going to waltz his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Wolverines. This game is certainly still winnable for the Memphis Tigers. We're keeping them in this. And trust me, I'm certainly nervous considering how, considering our history against teams of this caliber, no offense to Memphis. But it looks as though that big gain is actually going to get them inside the red zone. They're knocking on the door, man. And a quick gain for them. And all of a sudden, they're within 6 yards of tying, or potentially tying this thing at least. See what Memphis can do here. A lot of pre-snap motion. They're really spreading out our defense. I think that's our problem in this game so far. Quarterback's going to step back, throw, caught. Touchdown, Memphis. What a catch. But unfortunately, as I tried to play the 2-point conversion, it unfortunately simulated. We stopped them, thankfully. It's going to be third down here. This is the most pivotal third down that we have seen in a very long time. If we get it, we can drain them of their timeouts, or we can drain the clock. If we don't, well, we're giving Memphis a chance. Marshall's going to go forward. First down, Michigan. And now the ball is in our court. Under 3 minutes left. Memphis just had to waste their first of 3 timeouts in this half. Hyder has a chance to push this game past reach. Looks like he's been taking a beating this game, so we, of course, respect Savion Hyder for going all out. We need a big gain here, and Hyder's going to get one, and he's going to take a dive down. Smart decision. Memphis is going to be forced to take their last timeout. And Hyder's just going to waltz his way into the end zone once again. I wanted to waste a little more time there, but when you're given a free shot at the end zone, you should take it. And with an extra point here, looks like they get it. Michigan's up by 9, and it's 4th and a mile. Let's see here if Memphis can convert once again on a miracle play. They're going to give it to the receiver. He's going to be short. And the Michigan Wolverines have won the Peach Bowl, defeated the Memphis Tigers, and they are on their way to the national championship. And in the national championship game, it's going to be Nebraska, a team that we beat earlier in the year, a team that we have a strong history with. But before we hop into the game, there's something that I lied to you about. So, Bryce Underwood is actually healthy. He was healthy this week. He just got healthy. And now we have the decision of a lifetime. So, do we start the 97 overall quarterback, the presumptive starter, presumptive first-round draft pick in the NFL, or do we start the guy who got us here, Isaiah Marshall? Truly one of my favorite players that I've ever played with. Not because he's good, but because he has a great story. Now, if you look at the stats, the one thing Isaiah Marshall is good at is improvising. And Bryce Underwood is just better than him at that. And not only is he better than him at that, he's a better passer. He has better throw power. As a quarterback, Bryce Underwood is arguably the best quarterback in all of college football, and maybe the best quarterback in this game at this point in time. But Isaiah Marshall got us here for a reason. You can't just bench the guy who won you 2 straight playoff games, who won you the Rose Bowl and the Peach Bowl. I really don't know what I'm going to do here. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to start Underwood because he's a 97 overall. But Isaiah Marshall is actually going to find himself in the game. He will certainly play, and I can guarantee you he will score. I will 100% guarantee that he will be in the game, and he will score a touchdown for us. I promise you. But for the first time since week 5, the Michigan Wolverines are fully healthy, and they are ready to compete and potentially win the national championship. We finally have our starting quarterback back. We're competing for the biggest prize of them all. Looks like we're going to be in Florida somewhere. I'm not sure where. I just see the USF logo up there. But doesn't matter where we are. We are the best team in all of college football. And the fact that we are here after all this adversity is mind-blowing and ridiculous. The year's 2029. You know, you could argue we should have won earlier, you know, with all the recruits that we got, with all of, you know, with all the NIL that we had. Who cares? We're here at this point, and I think we've had a great story. We're in Tampa, Florida, and here's number 19 in maize and blue. In his first game back, he's going to hand it off to Savion Hyder. He'll get 9 yards. It's going to be the first pass attempt here for Bryce Underwood. We're just going to give him a shot down the field, see how the arm feels for him. You know, quick one-on-one coverage with the number 1 receiver. That was nowhere near close. 3rd and 1, deep shot from Underwood unfortunately doesn't work. Let's just go back to the bread and butter, what we know works. Savion Hyder, he is a guaranteed yard in this situation. Plus more. He's going to try and cut to the outside, just not fast enough. He's going to drop back in the pocket. Going to scan the field, fire to the tight end. See, that's not the tight end, that's J.J. Buchanan, but that's just what we've been missing there. Isaiah Marshall, I love the guy to death. He cannot make that throw. That throw would have been low and away. So it is good to have Bryce Underwood back. Underwood going to hand it off to Hyder. Hyder, I mean, I'm honestly spoiled playing with him. Like, whenever I go back to playing regular games, it's just not going to be as fun without playing as him. The shiftiness, it's just ridiculous. I'm glazing this guy, and all of a sudden now we're in 4th down. So, who cares who I'm playing with? You got to execute. But 4th down here, nobody open but Buchanan down the field. Our receivers collide. The ball was also a little low from Underwood. And the game is still tied, but it is 7-7. Our defense did let up a touchdown. We scored, quickly responded, 3 and out. And here we go. Underwood going to hand the ball off to Hyder. It's 3rd and 5. 3rd and 5 situation here. Underwood going to scan the field, going to go to the tight end. That safety made a wonderful play there. I did not see him coming until the very last second. And now it looks like Michigan's just going to go up by 3 here. Let me say I was talking a lot about Nebraska, telling them that we beat them with a backup quarterback. But, they're putting up a great fight against us. Their defense is very strong. And this is a very pivotal point in the game. So that's why we bench our starting quarterback and put in Isaiah Marshall. We'll see what he can do here. We're going to go to X real quick. Touchdown Wolverines. Isaiah Marshall with the strike. We're actually going to keep Marshall in for the rest of this half. This sounds a little ridiculous, but I think he just adds a little, little energy boost to the team. I feel like every time he's on the field, we make a great play. So we're sticking with the backup, and we're benching a future first-round pick and somebody that will maybe even be the number 1 overall pick when it's all said and done. We are benching him for Isaiah Marshall, who might not even make the NFL. All right, let's stop playing around now. Isaiah Marshall got his touchdown. I told you he'd get a touchdown. He got it. Let's put in Underwood now. Let's see if actually he can make this throw real quick. On the run. Number 10 didn't even know where the ball was. That could have been a pick 6 if he wanted it to be. But instead, terrible awareness leads to missed opportunities for Nebraska. And all of a sudden, Hyder's going to drive down the field. He'll get himself 4. Big 3rd down here. If we can convert, this might be the game. In fact, they are out of timeout. So screw the 2-minute warning. We're just going to go for it now. Let's see if Underwood is going to get it with his feet. He's going to showboat a little bit on his way, too. Go down, go down. Jesus. And that's going to secure the Wolverines the game. Oh, okay, maybe it's not. I thought they would maybe chew some clock off. We could have a nice little celebration. Instead, we're going to keep Nebraska in this game. Might as well just go for the kill shot. 1 more touchdown. Underwood drops back. He's going to get hit hard. The national champions of 2029, who else but the Michigan Wolverines? Through everything, through the adversity of losing the first game in this sim to Western Michigan, to losing to Buffalo the second year, to being literally a couple of percentage points away to being fired, to now being national champions, just one loss, despite a series of injuries to our starters, including our starting running back and our starting quarterback, our starting tackles. This team should not have won a national championship, but this just shows you that this team, top to bottom, was fully loaded at every position, and you can see Bryce Underwood with a little bit of a cocky dance there as he secures the game for the Wolverines. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave it a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment below your thoughts on this Michigan Dynasty, because I think Isaiah Marshall is now going to be a channel legend, and it's only been one video. So, thank you very much for watching. I'll be back very soon with another College Football 27 rebuild, and if you enjoyed and if you want to see more College Football 27 rebuilds, make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel. It's completely free. It helps me out and lets me know, I should just say, that you guys like the video. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll be back soon. Peace.